La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, come on. Let's see. Bam, 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 bam. That's definitely bam, bam. Okay. Hmm. What up, crying fish brother? How are you? I'm trying to get my boot my stream up here. Having some issues. Interesting. Interesting. Maybe I'll get it figured out. You know, you think I would have learned by now to do this before I start the stream. Colonel Courtois would run the scrub. Jay Richards in the 110th grade, but no hot shot at the bird parade. Bring a scrub J. Jeez, this thing's freaking. Keep session. I think I need to grab battery. There we go. There we go. I did close the window. I guess it's still no target specified. I think I need to grab batteries from my dang phone. What you mean, man? Huh. Wow. Interesting. Anyway, alright, yeah. Maybe I should grab some batteries real quick before we get started. I need some AAAs. 1 second. Oh, no. Alright. Dang it. I had to help my neighbor out. Freaking there we go. Jeez, I had to help my neighbor out and just got back home. Let's see what we got. Yeah, bam, 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 bam. Okay. Going good, brother. Got a bunch of stuff on the smoker. Chuck roast salmon, ground beef liver. Your day's going better than mine, brother. Had a bunch of she doesn't she needed a lesson in how to use her pool chemistry kit. She needed to learn how to use the reagents to test for like pH and salt content and whatnot. And she wants to open her pool for the summer, and it still hasn't gone through shocking and getting rid of algae and whatnot. So I was helping her get all the chemistry situated. All right, where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Let's see what's going on. Okay, Peru's capital city. Overloaded Pakistani trunk rear axle broken. Jeez. Dang, Pakistan. Uh-oh. She just lost everything. Yeah, this is gonna suck. I don't know where my AAA batteries are. Elliot Page's new muscles couldn't sing this painfully choreographed. These people are so crazy. Good evening, my Georgia hero. I give you a like, sending positive vibes. Good to see you, Catsby. Go to bed. Have a good night. Yeah, I had a long day. My day started about 7 o'clock this morning, and it just ended about, I don't know, 10 minutes ago. I got back home and started the stream, and now my batteries are dying on my mouse, and I don't know where my AAA batteries are. AI scam calls. Sewing machines. Ugh. Hybrid Palestine trans flag? I'm getting confused. Why does nobody travel to South America? Strangest countries. Massive prehistoric megastructures. Whoa. West Virginia's empty river towns. Nope, not a black folks problem. It's day in the life of Filipino multi. Shockwave cannon. That was quick. Pakistan crazy solution. 300,000 ton ship disappears. All right, let's watch that. Let's watch this. They must have cut holes in the side of it. My dad used to do stuff. My dad used to do stuff like this. He would go out with these divers, this divers group, and when they had decommissioned boats, they would turn them into like either diving sites, like wreck sites, or they would turn them into like beds, so like sea life, like oysters and stuff, could start growing on them and whatnot. They would cut these big old holes in the side with torches. Then they would take the boat out before the. They would cut the holes like right above the water line, and then they would take it out, and then they would like use some slight explosive to like blow out a patch that would bring water in below the water line, and then it would sink. And that's probably what you're seeing here is the air, the water coming in and blowing the air out of the ship, out of this vent. Oh, it said this is an incident. Yeah, there's people still on it. Oh, is that a rescue? Jeez. What up, William, brother? Serious pressure being relieved, I'd say. Something bad happened. They're taking these guys out, and it says safety first on the bridge. Yeah, that's not how a boat's supposed to be boating. And now it's being towed out. And there's no flag on it either. But it's still got like a crane and a bunch of its electronics. Interesting. How you doing, brother? Oops. Alright. It's definitely not fast-paced. Dramatic maritime incident off the coast of San Luis, Brazil. Massive 300,000 dead weight ton iron ore carrier was scuttled after running aground, trying to make a shortcut during her voyage. The final moments. I wonder if they got the ore off. How did they, if it ran aground? Mitch McConnell has been gone for 20 days. He's not gonna, he's being cloned. You know he is. What's up, Blue Sky? You know he's being cloned. Abso-freaking-lutely. Yeah, I heard that. I heard the 911 call for advanced resuscitation or advanced life support, ALS. Yeah. If the Democrats are screwed if he's not cloned. Imagine he comes back and he's doing backflips and he's like a foot taller. He ain't got no wrinkles. Yeah, something be bad. And apparently, no, it said it ran aground. It said here, so they didn't intro it with anything. It says a dramatic maritime incident off the coast of São Luís, Brazil. São Luís, 300,000 deadweight ton iron ore carrier, the Stella Banner, was scuttled after running aground during a shortcut on her voyage to the Far East. Watch the final moments as it sinks to the Atlantic Ocean. It was initially refloated after partially offloading its cargo iron ore. However, after inspections, it was unseaworthy. Yeah, okay, so it was refloated. So yeah, it's being towed out. My dad used to do stuff like this, but they would sink like old captured drug boats and stuff, and old military and civilian ships to turn them into like dive centers. So if there was areas along like the Atlantic that didn't have anything to dive on, so there was, to try to increase the scuba diving sport hobby, they would sink boats and stuff like that. This is a different story, but he used to, him and his diving buddies would cut holes in them with torches and then use explosives to punch out the final plug so that it would start taking on water. And then they would try to sit it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And this is pretty cool. He would do a lot of diving stuff like that. He would also reseed old polluted rivers. They would go diving and they would take a bunch of spat, which is and old used empty oyster shells and spat, and they would reseed inlets of rivers and streams and stuff so that they could start, and creeks start rehabilitating by adding the habitat back. So because oysters are filter feeders, so they would help clean up. But after a lot of pollution from back in like the 60s, 70s, and 80s, a lot of them had died off and died farther down to where the water could be more diluted, the toxins could be more diluted. So then after the added addition of the effluent was stopped, then they could go and self-seed back up. The SS United States is supposed to be sunk for a reef soon. I guess it caught up in environmental red tape. It's got a nuclear reactor. Yeah. Is that why the red tape got all wrapped up? Bunch of freaking bunch of sissy bitches. What up, TW? Dapper down. I might not be able to end my stream tonight if my mouse stops working. I can't click on stop. That's probably $25 to $30 million worth of ship going down there. Yeah, poor sinking boat. I think the nuke was... Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I was wondering if that's why the environmentalists got all uppity. So I'm sure they pulled it. I wonder if the captain got fired. Trying to take a shortcut in the ocean to the Middle East. I mean, you'd think these things are like 100% GPS controlled these days, and they would know where they can and can't go. Like sandbars aren't nothing new, and they've been, it's crazy. I came back from Walmart here in West Virginia. Yeah, I went out to Walmart today. I hate that place. It drives me so crazy. There's almost nothing you could find to eat in there that's not freaking wackadoo. Captain, why you fired? He sank the boat. Captain stank a boat. Oops. That's a big boat. 300,000 deadweight ton. Yeah, poor food.
The line's still on, huh?
Yeah.
The line's still on.
Yes.
Please tell me we see something at the end of this. Okay, it does go
That's
under.
still turning.
All right, we're going to speed up a little bit. There we go. Now it's pushing up some air. The butt cheeks are coming out of the water. Oh, there comes the butt. Now it's coming up quick. There it goes. There it goes. Now those loading vessel, the loading areas are now filling full of water real quick. Jeez, that's moving a lot of weight. Today's Supreme Court will consider whether or not laws known as the assault weapon ban will violate the Second Amendment. Uh-oh, brother. Dun, 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 dun. I think we're going to get them back. I thought it was 3 beeps when a vessel has been lost. Oh, maybe that's impending impact. Man. Imagine in like 100 years, somebody's going to be diving that area and just says, please be full of gold, please be full of gold, please be full of gold. It's going to be iron ore. It's going to all be rusted away. Yeah. Well, listen, things have been going very interesting lately. Bye boat. Yeah. Well, water is very heavy. Water is really heavy. And once it starts coming on, once you start taking water on, you don't have a lot of time. That's why a lot of personnel vessels have locks in them. So if you have a rupture in the side, it fills up one area and then it's containable. What up, dial up? Yep, now it's just a brown spot on the ocean. Police chased her across Ohio for a Stanley Cup. Oh, man, people these days. Let's see. Water is heavy and also not wet. You could argue water must be frozen into ice before it can become wet. But ice floats on water. So if the boat was made out of ice, it would still float. Do you know the only reason we have the possibility, well, if ice didn't float, solid versions of a liquid in every other substance sinks, but with water it floats. Like if you put steel on top of liquid steel, it'll sink. But for water, it floats. I know one thing, debating the semantics of water be a wet won't help me. No, absolutely not. Yeah, you're right. How you doing, Adam? All right, let's see. Gonorrhea. Scientists sent divers to the bottom of Lake Tahoe. Oh, man.
You're looking at the bottom of Lake Tahoe. How about that? Nearly 1,500 feet below the surface.
How about that?
And those little particles you see floating around there are rich with nutrients.
For over a century, Lake Tahoe has captivated the imagination of people around the world. Surrounded by stunning mountain peaks and crystalline waters, this alpine jewel has inspired countless stories, legends, and myths. But beneath its surface lies a world that remained almost entirely inaccessible to human exploration until recently. The mysteries of the lake's deepest reaches seemed destined to remain unknowns, locked away in darkness where no camera could penetrate and no diver could
why is
safely
everything got to
venture.
be AI
Then,
these days?
in the fall of 2025, everything changed. A cutting-edge underwater drone finally reached depths that humans had only...
I can't spell Tahoe. Oh, I spelled it with an R. Tathor. I did it again because I said R. Jeez. Now, well, apparently we have 4 SCOTUS and justices who are not worthy of that. Jeez. Wackadoodle. Talk about wackadoodle. All right, divers reach the bottom. Hopefully this isn't AI.
In 2014, a team of deep water divers descended into the darkness of Lake Tahoe. Almost 1,000 feet below the surface, their lights swept across, something that shouldn't have been there. A human body fully clothed, hair still attached, skin still intact, suspended upright in the water as if frozen mid-stride. He'd been down there for decades, and he wasn't alone. Divers have pulled from the bottom of Lake Tahoe over the last 50 years doesn't just defy what we know about the lake. It defies what we know about preservation, about American history, about indigenous warnings that were dismissed for centuries.
They're all friends. Get the masses to become self-sufficient so we're
beneath
good.
the surface of one of the most photographed lakes on Earth.
Make it happen,
Mafia
brother.
Victims
I'm
preserved
doing
their
my
museum
part.
Exhibits. A 6,000-year-old forest still standing upright.
I'm trying my best
A
to
19th
develop
century
programs
steamship
and get
sitting on the lake
things
floor in such
moving.
pristine condition.
You
And
heard
its
about
brass
this?
fittings still
A
shine.
pro tip: we are going to
Geometric
be the
structures
musician on the
captured
Titanic
sonar
because
that
you're not making
scientists
it out.
refuse to explain. And a Native American legend about something living at the bottom that, when modern researchers finally listened, turned out to be terrifying.
Chief.
This is the story of what's really at the
Bottom of Lake Tahoe
By
is
the end
full
of
of
it,
crap.
you'll
They dumped
understand
everything in
why
there
one
when they were
of the most
building the
famous
casinos.
oceanographers of the 20th century allegedly
humans.
surfaced from a dive there, refused to release his footage, and reportedly said the world wasn't ready for what he saw. To understand what makes Tahoe different from every other lake
Weather,
in North
temperature,
America, you have to
salinity?
start with the numbers. Tahoe is the second deepest lake in the United States. At its deepest point, it plunges 1,645 feet
Yeah.
straight down. That's deeper.
What
than
do you
the
think
Empire
about the
State
AI
Building is
companies
tall.
circling
If
money
you
all
drop
around
the
there?
Eiffel Tower into the middle of
So that's I can't believe it's not allowed. It's financial fraud. It's investment fraud. I can't. It's not legal to do that. Unless they did, which they probably did. They probably know the laws and they're probably smarter than I am. But that's absolutely crazy. Like here, I'm gonna invest in you so you can buy more stuff from me that you need to use from me. And that's crazy stuff. That's crazy stuff. You think I'm thinking the only reason they did it, or what'll probably happen, is they'll be investigated, and then they'll either buy each other, or they've got to do something. I can't see a legal way out of it, but then again, I'm not a professional with fraud. When they build structures in the Arkansas and Mississippi rivers, they find catfish as big as VWs. Jeez. Big old VWs. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a financial crash. And a lot of people, a lot of investors don't know what they're investing in. There's a lot of CAD, computer-aided design programs that aren't AI, but they're now advertising and marketing themselves as AI because the computer does things for you, and people can't tell the difference from automation and AI. It's like a lot of companies that are just using old automation, like skinning and layout and they're just saying we're AI. See, you tell it what to do and the computer does it, because now you can put an LLM front end on it. But isn't that basically what AI is? It's an LLM front end that's got automation tools on the back end. The fact the government banned some AI like Mythos is stupid. Those companies spend billions on AI, ruin the environment, and they're banning them. Yeah, but why do you think they're banning them? Do you think they're banning them to create market interest? You think they're banning them in order to make it so, like, look, this is something you can't have, and then it'll be like, okay, we're allowed to have 10,000 customers now bid for who gets to be the customers? It seems like that's the kind of stuff that's been going on for the past 20 years. Not just with AI, but making artificial rarity. This is something you can't have. Like makeup companies do this stuff. Like, oh, we're only releasing 3,000 of this, and then they released 3,000, and then after that they released 300,000. But the first 3,000 people were the first 3,000 people that could get it, and they got it for a markup and had to waste time and do a bunch of videos about it. Oh my God, I got the first 3,000. and it makes hype, and it's advertising and marketing. It's used as marketing too, but we'll see, because we can't look at it, so we don't know if it's really as kick-ass as they say. Yeah, but we're talking about it, and that's what's the thing they want. They didn't even need to let us know about it. Why was that even released to us that it's something that we can't use? Why would they tell us about something that we can't use? Hey, by the way, there's this thing called freaking Wackadoo that you can't use, but it's really cool, and I developed it. Get you a shirt. Yeah, scary times. Companies overinflated stock prices cause chip shortages to have a reason to make more chips. Right, and they're also investing in through Samsung, because Samsung builds most of the NAND chips, and then they need the NAND chips, so then Samsung can produce less rather than ramping up production to meet demand. They produce less, which makes their like RAM and SSD products cost more expensive because they can't get enough NAND chips from themselves. So our supplier's low. So they're making an artificial rarity and they're raising the prices. They don't need to do that. They didn't. They could have just done a back order for the same price, but they didn't do that. They raised the price. Yeah, it's crazy. Diamonds, a girl's best friend. Really enough, diamonds also. Yeah, same thing. Same thing with diamond. Right, same thing. Yeah, De Beers found a freaking shiny rock and advertised and marketed the hell out of it. Sued anybody that tried to sell it. Or tried to mine it, underneath, bought all the land that they could buy where they could be found, and then released it very slowly to cause artificial rarity, and then started the Gem Institute. They're the only people that can say if your diamond's real and what it's actually worth. Dogs are more useful than diamonds. I agree. I have a feeling those chip companies are intentionally controlled. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Listen. If they could have started another chip fab, they could have bought another chip fab, and just they already got all of the data, all of the photography. They've already got all the dyes and stuff. They just duplicating them. It's not like they have to redesign it. They just have to have more places to make it. And there's plenty of places they can say, hey, stop making a 555 timer and make more of these. It's just the photography. It's just lithography. It's not like it's something super special that's different from any other silicon chip manufacturer. Isn't it crazy how consumer culture has convinced women to judge their future? How stupid a man they have. How much will you waste for me? Yeah, right. Yeah, it's been built perfectly for economy. Yeah, right. You have to spend $300 on the first date, or you don't get no noogie. Like they got like women saying stuff like this, and like, if we're not having $100,000 wedding, I'm not getting married. Yeah. Adam, if you go overseas, gold is like a quarter of the price of diamonds, or like a tenth of the price outside the U.S. Yeah, because it's marked up all the way around.
It would still be more than 600 feet.
Because those companies, yeah. So I was talking to this guy in India the other day on Instagram, and he was asked. We were talking about RAM, and RAM prices in India are like a quarter of the, about a quarter of the price as they are here. 32 gigs of DDR5 is about $420 here, $420, $450, and he can get it for about $125. DDR5, same speed. I read about the lawsuit against the SPLC. We'll see what the verdict comes as. Yeah, brother, it's crazy. It's crazy. Did you see? You called it propaganda, and I don't watch Fox News, but you saw the thing also about the maid for the in Canada, because I wasn't lying and I wasn't using that. But if you didn't see it, I'll show you. It's absolutely, like, I think after you left, I pulled it up and we looked at it with everybody, and we looked into the woman that did it. Canada euthanizes. Damn it. Canada euthanizes man with seasonal affective disorder. Medically assisted death of Keanu Verifin, a 26-year-old Canadian who was euthanized in British Columbia on December 30th. He suffered from type 1 diabetes, partial vision loss, and depression that causes fierce debate over Canada's assisted dying laws. And there's this woman, the woman that did it, apparently, like, they tried to sue her, and that she's back to work. Anyway, Anyway, so yeah, I wasn't giving you Fox News talking points. I'd speak the truth. Now I know it's not like but it's absolutely crazy that they're doing that. It's absolutely crazy. We should do away with the AI, install AI. You hired, get to work. Yeah, I agree. Well, dude, Ford's hiring back people now. Ford's now hiring back human engineers because it says AI doesn't have the skill and the history. Like they don't. It doesn't like. AI can't say, hey, remember back in 1985 when we did this what you do thing on the blah, blah, blah that worked? You know, like, yeah. I ate a sack of potatoes for breakfast today. Very important one. Are you an Aussie?
Isn't what makes Tahoe strange. What makes Tahoe
but also, brother, Dirty Dingus, the SPLC already said that they were doing it, and if you watch the hearings, they say, do you think that was immoral? And they say our donators spoke by donating that it was okay to do what we're doing, even though they did all of the fraud. They used all of the CD bank accounts to change their names multiple times. They forged a bunch of signatures. It's just absolutely crazy what they've been doing. The next step is mandatory euthanasia. You wake up with a cold, eat the belladonna. I'm British. Nah, mate, I'm British.
strange is what happens once you go past 700 feet. At that depth, sunlight stops penetrating. The temperature drops to a constant 39 degrees Fahrenheit and stays there year-round. Oxygen levels
So an
collapse.
Aussie with a criminal
Material
ancestry,
activity
I
slows
see.
to almost nothing, and the pressure becomes intense enough to crush most organic matter against the lake floor, but not enough to break it apart. In other words, the bottom of Lake Tahoe is a refrigerator, a massive, lightless, oxygen-starved refrigerator that has been operating continuously for the last 2 million years. Anything that sinks into it doesn't rot, it doesn't decompose, it doesn't get eaten. It just sits there, exactly the way it
Faith
landed.
No More, May
Sometimes
Tour
for
2027
centuries.
is
This
better
why
more.
the story
Yeah,
started in
brother.
1970.
Listen. I'll join you if it's local. If you're coming to Atlanta, let's see. Did they announce it yet? May Tour, Faith No More Tour. No more tours. Faith. Faith No More is not currently on tour yet. Uncertainty signing global band. The band has not completed the tour since 2015. If they do it, their intended 2021 tour was canceled due to COVID. Prior to this 2027 tease, band members are expressed doubt about future touring, making it global. Man, they're just saying that stuff. They're definitely going to do it. Mr. Bungle's still touring, right? I mean, maybe not considering it touring, but Mr. Bungle's still playing shows. Yeah, they're still active. Was Slipknot inspired by Mr. Bungle? Oh, hold on, man. I need to make sure. Hold on. Something crazy might pop up with Mr. Bungle. Oh, I didn't say anything about tours. All right, there we go. Mr. Bungle came to Dallas in 2025. Missed it. I cried. Yeah. I saw him. In Baltimore. I saw him in Washington D.C. at the Black Cat.
Legendary French oceanographer Jacques Cousteau brought a submersible to Lake Tahoe sometime during that decade. He'd already explored the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, the Red Sea. Tahoe was supposed to be a routine freshwater dive. When Cousteau resurfaced, witnesses claimed he was visibly shaken. He refused to discuss what he'd seen. He never released his footage. And in a quote that has been repeated for 50 years across journalism, documentaries, and local tour guides, he allegedly told a reporter, "The world isn't ready for what's down there." The Cousteau family has denied this story for
Tahoe's
decades.
deep-sea
Footage, if it exists,
refrigerator.
has never been seen. But the quote stuck, because once you understand what's actually
We need to send in a freedom of information request for the footage.
from the lake
I've never
floor
cried,
since then,
but I've had
it's
bouts of
hard
blurry
not to
vision
believe
though.
him.
Very weird.
Let's start with the bodies. In 2011, a recreational diver named Donald Windecker pushed past
No
the recommended
way.
depth limit in Tahoe and descended to a record 423
That's gotta be AI.
feet. At that depth, his lights illuminated something his brain refused to process. A man in a 1940s-style suit, fully intact, fingers preserved down to the fingernails, face still recognizable. Body wasn't decomposing. It wasn't bloated. It looked, in Windecker's own words, like a wax figure from a museum. He photographed it. He surfaced. He reported it to authorities. The body has never been identified. It isn't the only one. Tahoe straddles the border between California and Nevada. Reno, just 30 miles east, was a hub of organized crime activity.
Did he have concrete shoes on?
The 1920s
right
through
by
the
Reno.
1960s. Casinos at South Lake Tahoe were tied directly to mafia interests in Las Vegas and Chicago.
My name is Al Gazal, the earthquake predictor, Mr. IFL. Can you contact me, please? How am I going to? Do you have Discord? If you have Discord, you can contact me on Discord, or you can send me an email. Here, I'll post. I didn't put my Discord up here real quick. Let me do this way while we're at it.
Bodies. According to local divers and law enforcement sources, the lake floor contains an unknown number of Mafia-era victims. Some still tied to weights, some still wearing the clothes they were murdered in. Bodies don't sink the way they would in warmer water. The cold
with shoes on. Oh,
lack of bacterial gas.
Wow, I didn't know the oceans could preserve bodies. So the temperature is so low and the pressure is so high that it's not the skin and the bacteria don't act very, which is odd though, because it has to do with sometimes about salinity levels. I don't know exactly what it is about Lake Tahoe, but the theories were like the reason why the bodies don't rot is that the temperature is dang near freezing, but because the pressure is so high, the water doesn't freeze. And it could also be very low in oxygen, so there's not enough for because you don't see a whole lot of like life, and obviously it's not been eaten by fish and stuff. Have you heard about the earthquake weapon technology? Yeah. I've heard the rumors. I don't believe in it, but people say it exists. Yeah. Now this is out underwater, brother.
And here's where it gets genuinely strange.
Massager.
Because of the lake's pressure gradient, some bodies appear to remain upright in the
low
water
oxygen.
column,
Yeah,
suspended at the depth where their density matches the water around them. Divers have reported encountering corpses standing, as if walking the lake floor, eyes open, clothing intact. In one case, a diver reported encountering a body whose pocket watch was still attached, the chain visible against the fabric of a suit jacket that hadn't deteriorated in over 7 years.
I blame Fukushima on harp testing.
The local authorities don't talk about this publicly. The Tahoe tourism industry doesn't acknowledge it. Ask any deep water diver who's worked the lake, and they'll tell you the same thing. There are people down there. Hundreds, possibly thousands, and they're not going anywhere. In 2017, a sonar survey conducted off the South Lake Tahoe shoreline detected what appeared to be human-shaped objects clustered together at approximately 600 feet of depth. Cluster contained at least 9 distinct figures, arranged in what one analyst described as a deliberate configuration. Findings were reported quietly.
They took some freaking mobster took these people out and said, "Hey, you got my money?"
To local law enforcement. The site has never been excavated. The cluster has never been disturbed. According to the dive team that filed the original report, the configuration suggested a single event. Multiple bodies, deposited at the same location, at the same time, weighted in a way that kept them grouped together as they sank. Whoever
there was
they
a
were,
time when I broke
my dad's
my
and
dad's
they have been down there
condom.
together, perfectly preserved ever since.
So I also blame Bernie losing on CERN 98% joke and Fruit of the Loom had a cornucopia. It did have a cornucopia.
That question brought a team.
Yeah, they found. I mean, unless people completely screen printed them, they found. They actually. This one girl went on a mission and found at what do you call those things, like Goodwills and whatnot, thrift stores. Here, look. The girl who found the Fruit of the Loom cornucopia. Let's see. Nicole Dimelifting, who went to a deep Mandela effect rabbit hole to invest the cornucopia. Her investigation sparked internet-wide debates whether the brand used it. She seared heavily viewed videos claiming to found proof of the cornucopia was indeed the brand's original logo. The Fruit of the Loom has consistently denied it. The copyright claim. Nicole video began gaining mass traction. Fruit of the Loom intervened and filed copyright strikes. How can you file copyright strikes on a non-copyrighted piece of art? Nice. Can people dive deep in there? No, that dude was down there in a swim, probably a dry suit. What up, Ben? Dexter, dude. They did a video about CERN in Switzerland. In the video, one of the secretary's backgrounds holding up a piece of paper written on it. Mandela. Jeez.
From the United States Geological Survey to the lake in the early 2000s. They weren't looking for bodies.
I love that
they
theory.
Were mapping
I love
the
it. I love it. I love it.
topography using high-resolution sonar.
Everything before the day it turned on.
What they found at a depth of around 300 feet stopped the project cold, a forest. An entire forest of fully grown pine trees, still standing upright, roots still anchored in the soil, branches still extended, exactly as they had been when they were alive.
You know what
The
would be
trees weren't
interesting?
twisted.
You know what
They
would be
weren't laid
interesting
flat.
is if we dove this and actually recovered the bodies and found out that they were like 10,000 years old. And like this was like before the previous ice age when we got technologically where we are now. But then the ice age happened or a great flood happened and killed us all. And then, like, except for a few people that then restarted it after the ice age receded. Dun, 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 dun. Have you
Against
seen the
lake
fake
floor.
sacrifice
They were
videos in front of
standing
the
as if
Indian
entire
goddess? The
forest had
cameraman is
simply
being
been swallowed by
spooked
the
as long
water
as
around
Hollywood.
it and left undisturbed. Carbon dating of wood samples
no, I don't think I've
extracted
seen
from
that.
submerged trees
So-
returned a date of approximately 6,000 years before present.
6,000
That
years.
means at some point in the recent geological past, the level of Lake Tahoe was hundreds of feet lower than it is today. Coniferous forest grew
There you
along
go.
the ancient shoreline. And
What
then
up, Robert?
somehow, that forest was inundated quickly enough that the trees never had time to
I
fall.
wasn't then.
This isn't a theory.
I wasn't
It's been
then who I knew.
documented in USG's published
A
findings.
rebreather.
You can
That's
find
what
the
you need, a
bathymetric maps
rebreather.
online. Here's the question.
I
no
met a
one
guy
wants to-
in the Virgin Islands who tried to make a rebreather using peanut plants. And I never did the research, but he said that he did the research and peanut plants convert carbon dioxide to oxygen faster than any other easily accessible plant that he had. This was freaking 30 years ago, 36 years ago. And so he used tanks like clear tanks, like clear plastic Lexan tanks filled with peanut plants. And this was at a bar. I was 13. You're allowed to drink down there, and everybody said it worked. I was like, "Can I see it?" He said it's at the bottom of the ocean. So he might have just been bullshitting a 13-year-old, but it's a pretty cool idea to think about. And I think there's actually algae or something along that line, single cell, that can convert oxygen or carbon dioxide to oxygen and carbon. That could work much faster than the scrubbers in a rebreather. The ocean rose hundreds of feet nearly instantly. Meteors hit the northern ice cap 12,000 years ago. I'll die on that hill. Dun, 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 dun.
Answer. What kind of event raises a lake by hundreds of feet without uprooting the forest growing along its edge? Most flooding events involve violent movement, rivers overflowing, dams breaking, ice melting.
Yeah, I'd
Those
like to see
events
Faith
tend to
no
topple
more.
trees, not preserve them. For a forest to be inundated and left standing, the water level would have to rise relatively slowly.
Ben,
but
is it
rise
possible
high
for
enough
land to
drown
erode to the
mature
point
pine
where we
trees
will
that
live
have
it?
been growing for decades?
So theoretically, as the plate tectonics happens, the land will eventually go down into the mantle, the crust will, and then recycle and get spit back out as magma and shifting plates and recycle itself. Unless the sun blows up. What up, Milk Little Pony? Hey, I think I remember you from like 10 months ago. Is that you? Or maybe there's a lot of... Or did I say that last time you were in here, and you were in here a couple of days ago, too? Didn't even think about it?
There's another possibility, one that geologists at the University of Nevada have quietly raised but never fully published. What if the floor of the lake dropped? What if a geological event around 6,000 years ago caused a massive subsidence in the Tahoe Basin, sinking the forest below the existing waterline? That would explain the preservation. It would also explain something else we'll come back to later, because Tahoe sits on an active fault.
If
and
the
what's
crust
happening
was
beneath that
perfectly
fault
round,
is
yeah,
something the
egg-shaped,
US
then we
Geological
would indeed
Survey
be a
has
water
been
world.
monitoring with growing concern since 2011. Forest itself, when divers have managed to reach it, presents a sight that researchers describe as deeply unsettling. Trees stand in formation.
That's
branches
got to
still
be
extended
creepy.
outward,
Listen,
and
especially
some-
when you're scuba diving, it's already creepy enough because the only thing you can hear is the operation of your tank and the air rushing through your regulator, and then seeing something like this that looks like you're on the ground. I've never seen it. I mean, I've dove plenty of times, but I've never seen anything like this where there's still branches on the trees and whatnot. When the nuclear radiation mutates all us into bronies. My little ponies, my friendship is magic.
cases with bark still intact. Water clarity at that depth is exceptional, and the lighting from a diver's torch can illuminate dozens of trees at once. The effect, according to one diver who descended to the site in 2008,
Yeah, swimming through a forest.
is like swimming through a forest that has simply forgotten to be alive. Nothing moves, nothing grows. Pine needles that should have fallen and decayed thousands of years ago are gone, but the structures of the trees themselves remain, frozen at the exact moment the water swallowed them. It is, in a literal sense, a photograph of an ancient world, and it has been hanging in the dark, waiting to be found.
Yeah,
for as long as recorded human
do you know how Saudi Arabia and all UAE and all that they're all sinking big areas because they're underground aquifers that have been drained. There's so little waterfall there, it's the desert. But thousands of years ago, when there was a lot of waterfall and there was enough water to soak through all of the ground and then create aquifers, replenish aquifers, but they drilled wells and they're pulling water out of there and they're not putting anything back in, so the ground is sinking. Apparently, like really bad. There's like a whole bunch of very, very extremely bad, like has to be done. Something's got to be done within the next like 2 or 3 years, and then. But we're talking about like billions of gallons. So this could be the same kind of thing. If there was an underground oil reserve that was pumped dry back during the oil rush, I mean, obviously we'd probably have documentation of that. But what would happen? A crevice opens up from like what would be a volcano. The water rushes somewhere, causes all this to drop. Who knows? In Arkansas, they have flooded forests because we do massive managed flooding, and it's creepy being in a boat hanging around the trees, top of the trees. Yeah, that's got to be creepy. I'd like to check it out, though. Do you see the Cuba Gooding Jr. movie where Robert De Niro character could not dive ever because he told somebody his body stayed active? Yes, I do remember seeing that. I can't remember what the name of it was, but yeah, like Cuba Gooding Jr. was like the first black Navy officer or something like that. Yeah, I definitely saw it. Anyone else think we could have a mile high trees, Sci-Fi 11 style, and Devil's Mountain petrified tree stump? I think Devil's Mountain is a petrified tree stump. Yeah, they're a very tall building over there. I was in trouble. Iran also, they pumped all the water from their aquifers, and they've been in a drought for like 50 years. Yeah, well, apparently that's what started this second revolution that led to this war, so to speak, or supposedly. Is that a lot of the people, and we had a guy in here yesterday and the day before. We had two different guys from Iran in the chat, and they were saying that they didn't have no water, didn't have power, and this was before the war. And then when they went to the street to let their issues be known to the government, it ended up with 45,000 13 to 24-year-olds being massacred.
Has existed. Before we get to the geology, we have to talk about the ships. In 1940, the steamship SS Tahoe was scuttled in the deepest part of the lake. The ship had been the pride of the Tahoe fleet for nearly 40 years, carrying passengers and cargo between the lake's resort towns from 1896 onward. When she was retired, her owner decided she should sink into the lake she had served, and so she was towed to deep water, opened to the elements, and sent to the bottom. She landed at a depth of approximately 400 feet, upright, and there she has remained untouched for over 80 years.
Was that his name?
In 2002, a team of divers using technical equipment finally reached her. What they found shouldn't have been possible.
I hate cold water diving.
Brass fittings on the deck still gleamed. The wood paneling in the cabins was unrotted. Glass windows were unbroken. Even the painted lettering on the hull was still legible. The SS Tahoe looked, in the words of one diver, like she had been scuttled the day before, not 80 years earlier.
They could get water from the ocean if so they're getting water from the ocean and from the Persian Sea. They're desalinating it and then pumping the salt back into the ocean. So now the sea. So now the Persian Sea is 50 to 80 times saltier than the sea. And then so now since the water's got so much more salt in it, it takes more energy to desalinate that way denser water. And so that's running out very, very quick. So everything seems a problem. What are they going to do? Here's a huge problem. They need fresh water for their wheat. They're a wheat exporter. But when you grow wheat with water, then you ship that wheat to other countries. That water that you used now left your country. So now you're pulling out and not using it for your local bubble. So it's bad. Yeah, the Persian Sea. Salinity of the Persian Sea. The Persian Gulf is one of the saltiest bodies of water in the world. Salinity 40 to 41 practical salinity units, roughly 41 grams of salt per liter of water. 41 grams of salt per liter. By comparison, the temperate ocean is 35. Salinity level straight up Hormuz, the lowest salinity area. That's probably why they want that strait so bad. I honestly think now that I know what I know about what's going on in the Middle East with the land sinking and them running out of fresh water aquifers, I think they want access to this for that. They know that in the future that's going to be the fresh water their main source of fresh water. Anyway. It receives fresh water inflow from the Indian Ocean. The salinity range, okay, but where was it? How seawater desalination plants impact regional salinity. We can look at it if you guys want to. Giant tree trunk from Nordic lore. Yeah, that's what I think too. The main six of MLP: Twilight Sparkle, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, Rarity, and Applejack.
There are small craft.
Jocelyn, go to bed. Todd, the Iranians have already completed the massive desalination plants. They're just laying the piping down now to bring it into the interior. Good night, Jocelyn.
Lost. They weren't lost. They sank. Because Tahoe doesn't allow decomposition
Dubai gets like most of its water from its desalination plant.
The ships are only the obvious artifacts. The real story is what's been found scattered around them.
But the population from that area, from the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia blew up from 1960. Their population was 3.5 million. Now it's like 30 million or more. So they're pulling out a lot more water than that land was, let's say, meant to support. And they're pulling oil out too, oil and water. So that's causing their. I watched a short video about TPK and our soil crop with nutrients deprived, causing illness.
They built railroads.
All right, so Ben, when I started telling people about the requirement of supplementation for our diet, that's one of the huge reasons. Our soil is so depleted, and the stuff we use to grow our crops now, the fertilizers we use only puts in basically one major nutrient, and that. So our vegetable fruits and vegetables vitamin and mineral profile is very, very different, much lower than what it should be. And then because we need long shipping times, we pick the vegetables, harvest them before harvest time, before they're ripe, so they don't develop completely on the vine. And then we use things like ethylene gas and whatnot to ripen them in store in warehouse. So now you're eating all this food thinking, I eat my vegetables, I eat my fruits. Yeah, but you're not absorbing the amount of vitamins and minerals you should be. Iran is reliant on desalination. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of massive water projects, how bad was Gaddafi? I don't know. Yeah, that's why the Iranians built all their desalination plants on the Indian Ocean side, Strait, and now the Persian Gulf side. Yeah, it's way too expensive. I mean, they've got oil money, but it's way too expensive to desalinate the Persian Gulf side. I said Persian Sea. Yeah, Persian Gulf side, because they've been desalinating it since like the 80s, maybe like the 70s. So and millions of people need water, millions of showers and baths, millions of pounds of crops, millions of tons of crops being grown. Just like all the data centers could be built closer to the ocean, use water from them instead of pulling up all the fresh water. Yeah, that's what I thought about too. And like that would be a pretty good idea. Microsoft had an idea of submerging the data center so that the water could be piped directly in, and for cooling, and the heat could be dissipated to the surrounding ocean. But then if they did enough of them, you would be warming up that local area and killing off lots of fish. If you remembered me, I was my Rudy. Yes, I remember you, Rudy. Yes, I remember. I do remember you, Rudy. I've started to understand that getting older is meaning more about the amount of time you put into poison in your body. That's what getting older is. You shouldn't be rotting as fast. The thing we talk about healthcare is we shouldn't need healthcare. We should need emergency healthcare. We shouldn't everybody be getting fat and sick. Why are we putting on so much weight and going into so much vitamin deficiency? That's what's got to be talked about. Yeah, there's a big problem. Intrinsic factor out of the gut, the polysorbate 80, carrageenan, and other emulsifiers washing away our gut lining. Yeah, there's problems. Yeah, seedless fruits aren't meant to be eaten. China, I hear, already has data centers submerged. That's probably where Microsoft got the idea. It's been a long time. Well, you're back now.
They cut timber.
Comstock.
They lived in communities along the lake's shores. And when the silver boom collapsed in the 1880s, many of them simply vanished from the historical record. Local histories suggest that anti-Chinese violence in the region was severe. Communities were burned. Workers were forced out. And in some cases, entire settlements appear to have been wiped from the landscape, with almost no archaeological trace. Except, according to divers, the trace is at the bottom of the lake. Ceramic shards from Qing Dynasty pottery have recovered from depths exceeding 200 feet. Copper coins stamped with Chinese characters. Mining tools forged in a style associated with 19th century Chinese metallurgy. In one report from 2008, a research team described finding what appeared to be the foundation of a small wooden structure on the lake floor, with associated household artifacts scattered around it. The implication, never officially confirmed, was that an entire Chinese settlement may have been submerged when the lake levels shifted in the late 19th century. Or, more disturbingly, that something else happened to it. There are local legends in the Tahoe area, mostly forgotten now, about Chinese laborers being driven into the lake during the worst of the 1880s anti-immigrant violence.
Can barely walk at
Legends
60.
have never been substantiated.
Right. Absolutely. Right. We shouldn't just get to our growth spurt, get to our early 20s, and then start rotting. That's not natural. It absolutely shouldn't be. But we've been convinced because we're surrounded with sickness. We've done one thing that needs to change. We've changed how we talk about food. We've changed how we talk about nutrition. When you ask people today about nutrition, they talk about fat, sodium, cholesterol, fiber, and not how much vitamin A did you get. What about B12? How's your methylfolate? And they don't know. And they say, well, I got vitamin D in milk. Yeah, they only put like a freaking 100,000th of what you need in milk, vitamin D in milk. And so it's like. And come to find out, the math was wrong when they calculated how much vitamin D we're supposed to get daily. So it's like 400 to 600 IUs, but they forgot to multiply that by 12, so it's supposed to be, or 14, so it's supposed to be almost 8,800 IUs. So people are think they're taking 100% of their vitamin D, and they're way deficient. Yeah, there's a lot of problems.
By
so you have all these people like ADHD, and vitamin B12 deficiency mimic each other. So without a doctor checking to see if you're B12 deficient, when you go in and he talks to you and he says, you sound like you got ADHD, here's some speed. So you might be on speed like I was, for ADHD. And that wasn't until I was 45 that I started taking sublingual methylated B12 supplements, and then my ADHD became a superpower rather than a hindrance. My fatigue, my depression, my anxiety all lifted, and then adding methylfolate to that, like now I can do this at 9:30 at night and have a bunch of energy and go through a bunch of topics quickly. I mean, I was 138 pounds at 6'4", and none of my doctors ever said maybe you're malnourished, maybe you're vitamin deficient. So how many other kids, how many other adults, how many other people are deficient in one of the many the essential vitamins? I'm fat and 59, walk every day. Rheumatoid arthritis. Jeez, brother. You're not walking at your next birthday. Jeez. Yeah, brother. Rheumatoid arthritis ain't no joke, man. Ain't no joke. My mother had arthritis. It's pretty much gone now. She like her and my father are doing great in their 70s, almost 80. And they're doing really good now. They're off all the pharmaceuticals they were on. My mom was on statins. And the thing about, like, your brain is mostly cholesterol. So if you're on cholesterol lowering drugs, here's another thing. A lot of times the reason we have plaques on our teeth and in our arteries is from a vitamin K2 and their MK4, MK7 deficiency. So vitamin K2, vitamin D3 moves calcium from the intestines into the bloodstream, but then it'll just keep going around your bloodstream, calcifying at your blood, and then when the bloodstream gets calcified, then cholesterol can stick to it and whatnot. But vitamin K2 moves it out of soft tissues and the bloodstream and moves it into the teeth and the bone. If you've got teeth plaque, even though you brush, it's not that you didn't floss. It's that it can definitely be that you have a K2 deficiency if you're not eating lots of like fermented beans and natto. So if you start, what I started doing, what my family started doing is K2. So now that can, within 6 months, my mom now has clear jugulars, carotid arteries. So the K2 can move the calcium out of your soft tissues into your teeth and bone. And no one ever said this to her in 60 some years. The motion of the lotion. You're on an immunity suppressant. Yeah, I take lots of supplements. I got a whole website with all the supplements I take. 110thgrade.com. Oops. 110th grade. Yeah. This is my website here. Get you so a wackadoo hat or get you so a wackadoo shirt. But if you click on vitamins up here, this is everything that I take. And these are sublingual. So if you don't have intrinsic factor in your guts, you can't absorb B12 properly, then the only loophole, the only way through that is to get a pre-methylated version. Or if you have liver issues and your liver can't methylate properly, or you have the MTHFR gene issue, then you need methylfolate, which will absorb under the tongue, vitamin B12, which will absorb under the tongue, vitamin D3, which can absorb under the tongue. So it bypasses the intestines and altogether, and the liver does not need to methylate it. So if you've got liver issues, but yeah, I take a bunch. I take a bunch every day. Richard is 102. Dun, 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 dun. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to stream and stuff if I didn't. I don't drink. I don't smoke weed. I don't do nothing. The only thing I take B12 and methylfolate in the morning, a cup of coffee with my cocoa, creatine, collagen, and coffee. That's what I mix in. High flavanol cocoa can release free stem cells from your bone marrow, which can speed healing throughout the body. Better than not having it. But chocolate that you get with like Hershey's and stuff is trash because of all the other crap in it. And the stuff that makes rendered chocolate or mechanically smooth chocolates feel smooth is well, because it doesn't work properly. It makes it grainy. They add a chemical to it that smooths it out, an emulsifier that allows the fat molecules and the water molecules to mix properly. But that acts as a detergent. Emulsifiers act like soap. That's what soap is, like hand washing soap. So the mucus on the inside of your intestines that like the fat and water soluble vitamins absorb into to get into the bloodstream, that can get washed away by eating like bullshit ice creams and stuff that's got polysorbate 80-carrageenan and other emulsifiers. So a lot of people's health issues can stem from eating prepared foods that have emulsifiers in them so they don't look bad, and so they'll be more shelf stable. And then once you like, if you haven't been checked for vitamin and mineral deficiency, that should be your number one top priority, your number one priority before you do anything else in life. If you go to I'm trying to make differences, whether it's during the Trump administration or whoever follows them. I don't care if they're Republicans or Democrats. I want change how children are diagnosed. When a kid goes into the doctor's office for the first time, shouldn't just be, do you have all your vaccines? It should be, are you, like if you go in and you say, oh, I got some, I'm not doing good in school. It should be, do you have any parasitic infections that need to be getting out? So start a dose of anti-parasitics and then check for a vitamin mineral deficiency. That should be set. In China, for ADHD and anxiety, they give for kids in high school or elementary through high school age, they give vitamin B12 and methylfolate. That's what they give, not freaking SSRIs and benzodiazepines like we do here. Hey, Bubba, what do you think about basic water? Listen. I thought about this for a long time. It doesn't make any sense to me. You're dumping it on a stomach full of acid. It doesn't. I can't imagine that it could do anything for you. If you bathed in it, but drinking it and hitting your stomach acids, yeah, I can't imagine that. Like, if you didn't have stomach acid, then I could see that. But yeah, no, it's just going to be reacidified as soon as it hits your stomach acid. Would taking 65% dark chocolate be better than hot chocolate? Not really. Cocoa and stem cells. Okay. Okay, let's see. Cocoa flavanols can stimulate the mobilization of your body's stem cells, encouraging them to migrate from the bone marrow into the bloodstream to repair tissues. Research shows that consuming high flavanol cocoa doubles circulating stem cell counts, significantly improving blood flow and cardiovascular health. So I add a heaping scoop to my cup of coffee every morning. Just regular baking cocoa is fine for me. What to buy, raw cocoa powder or dark chocolate. So I use 100% raw cocoa with at least 85% cocoa content. Avoid alkalized or Dutch process. So I don't get the really dark stuff, the Dutch process. It's 100% cocoa. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, my man. We went off this, right? I use Kroger brand or whatever. No, it's baking cocoa. It's just 100% cocoa. Do you think older adults should be microchipped like dogs and cats? Yeah, just in case they get lost. 99% dark chocolate, gang. Yep, yeah, that's good stuff. Oi, bruv, what up? Avery, ain't seen you in a while. My mom's oncologist said that if you're low in B12, you should take B12 supplements for the rest of your life. Right, because if you're low in B12, you're not absorbing it through your guts. Or your liver's not methylating it. So you can get pre-methylated methylcobalamin, not cyanocobalamin, which is made from bacteria that eat some cyanide wackadoo and spit it out. But then your liver methylates it and separates the cyanide from it. And then the cyanide can reconnect to it and re-cyanate it. And cyanated, like what's in like Monster Energy drinks and Red Bull, that's got cyanocobalamin in it. So methylated, your liver will methylate some of that and give you that little B12 boost. But then it'll die out very quickly, making you want another energy drink. So if you could just take the pills and not worry about the caffeine and sugar and everything. This is 200,000% your daily vitamin B12. The government tells you should take 2.4 millionths of a gram a day. And they say you can get that from a hamburger and whatever. I take 500,000 micrograms, which is 200,000. So I take 200,000 times what's recommended a day. But there's even stronger ones. It's called no shot. So you don't have to get a B12 injection. You'll absorb enough directly, and your liver doesn't have to methylate it because it's already methylated. So if you have liver issues, there's no good chocolate in this country now. Chocolate for breakfast. We want chocolate for breakfast. I like it in my coffee. Yeah, it's good. Do you use organic coffee, caffeine or caffeinated? Yeah, might as well get the caffeine benefit. Tastes really good. Yeah. I mean, because I'm putting sugar in my coffee anyway, so adding chocolate to it just makes it taste like chocolate milk coffee. Yeah, it's really good for your health. Black pill. I'm on the same coffee concoction. It works. It definitely works. Hair, nails. I mean, my nails look like I'm a freaking, I mean, except for the dirt under them. My nails look like a freaking, I'm a model now. Like my cuticles are freaking like nice and freaking beautiful. My hair's looking good for being 50 years old, 49 years old. Yeah, so I'm all about it. My sister tested low for B12. It explains why because she was lazy. Right. Don't be lazy. Right. And that can be from a B12 deficiency, especially if you went through a vegan or vegetarian period. The fact that the EpiPen costs hundreds of dollars in America, despite being cheap to make, it's right. Pennies to make. Pennies to make. Maybe $1 to make the entire injection device. I saw there was make 100 tons of cocoa from one bean. If they do that, dude. If they do that, they're adding a bunch of whack at B12. Yeah, B12 is great. Unbelievable that it's not pushed more for our health. And it's unbelievable that they use the cyanated version in all these energy drinks. But it makes sense because you only get a short burst of energy. And then people use it, they self-medicate with it. But then you're hammering a bunch of sugar, a bunch of wacky other stuff, and a bunch of caffeine with it. That's way too much caffeine. The vitamin... Corvin has helped a lot of severely autistic children behavior communication benefits. So has B12 and methylfolate. It's what if you see what the Germans, the Chinese, and the Swedes are doing with B12 for these issues, and we're not. Why aren't we? Because if you go to a doctor and you say, I've got these issues, I've got fatigue, I can't concentrate, they'll be like ADHD. You're at the age for it. Here, start taking some Adderall, and you'll be on that for years, rather than testing you to see if you have a B12 deficiency. Kids don't eat big hunks of steak anyway. They're eating freaking dino nuggies and stuff. So it's very possible that you're deficient. Very possible. My sister eat lots of meat, tested low for B12. Well, yeah, right. Well, that means so intrinsic factor is what you need in your guts. If without intrinsic factor in your guts, you can't absorb B12 through your diet. So you're just pooping. And if you take some meat with B12 in it, you're just pooping B12 into the toilet. It's not crossing the gut wall into the bloodstream. I used to love non-dairy creamer before I found out it's crazy. Expensive healthcare as a result of unchecked free market capitalism. Capitalism needs some restrictions. Brother, I think it's from lying. I think it's absolutely from lying. I think it's from evil, not unchecked capitalism. We can change that in a capitalist society. We can get the education out there. Like, look, dude, I'm trying to contact freaking RFK Jr. on X to try to change the world here. I want to change how it's done in America. I'm putting a grant proposal together to try to change how it's done. I think if kids are checked for mineral deficiencies instead, that how many, even if it's just 20% of kids that aren't put on pharmaceuticals for ADHD and other related issues. Right here. So I sent this. Why aren't these posters not displayed in every school and doctor's office? And after the world has dealt with scurvy and rickets, did we forget that vitamin deficiency can have real-world consequences? Are we so naive to believe that there are not mental health consequences for vitamin and mineral deficiency in infancy? So if we got kids to know, hey, this is what these are the vitamins you need every day, and these are the foods that have it, and then they can go home and be like, Mom, I haven't had enough natto today. I'm going to be low in. That's the conversation kids should be having with their parents, not freaking, I think I'm a dog. Maybe that's why they think they're a dog. You know, like all this mental health issue, all this stuff that's going on, and I think, and looking at our diets, looking at what's available for us, what's given to us in school, even school meals aren't nutritionally sound for vitamins and minerals. They've got the fiber that you need, they've got the cholesterol and fat that you need, but they don't have the vitamins and minerals. People don't even talk about vitamins. People don't even know there's a vitamin K2. What up, the core, brother? Gluten Morgan, 100% cocoa is better. I just drink it. Yeah, you can drink it. Yeah. Dino nuggies. Full meat glue. Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah, since we are now a republic, right? If our healthcare is improved without regulations of the free market, I will praise that. Brother, there's going to be a problem. because they'll want to make money, and the pharmaceutical and chemical industry works with the agriculture industry. If they know the food can make you sick by not by poisoning you, but by not giving you the stuff that you need, then you're going to end up needing the health care. I think a lot of this mental health issue can be relieved for a lot of people if we make sure they're getting what they get. I honestly believe this. I did 5 years of research for this, and I honestly believe that if we fix vitamin and mineral deficiencies and parasite infection in anybody that's got it, we can help millions and millions and millions of people for pennies, and then they don't need their SSRIs and their Adderall and their freaking Xanax. But, but we've gotten to this as a society where we just expect there's going to be millions of sick people. Why? Why is there going to be millions of sick people? Because they're 15 and they're in school. No. Fun fact, the average lifespan of a Russian soldier in Ukraine for lights is 10 to 15 minutes. Welcome back, brother. K2, is that about it? What I saw. 30 minutes. Jeez.
Whatever happened to those communities, the evidence of their existence.
Anyway, I'm on a
destroyed.
mission.
It was
We're gonna
preserved
figure it
just
out.
like the
We're gonna
bodies,
figure it
just
out.
like the ships, just like the forest.
I think we could make being sick much less profitable. Much less profitable. Then you can give everybody free health care.
The cold and the dark and the pressure of America's deepest lake.
The
And now we
legend
get
is
to the part
live
that
in
even the most
Bible.
skeptical researchers admit is hard to explain.
Dun, 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 dun.
In 1962, at the height of the Cold War, the United States Navy established a research
I support
facility
American
on the
support.
western shore
I
of
supported
Lake
American
Tahoe.
support in
The
Ukraine.
facility was
beginning
called
under
the Naval
the beginning under
Undersea
Biden, and I
Warfare
saw what
Center,
the world
Tahoe
it would become
Its official
Afghanistan.
purpose
He
was to
Captain Miscreant was on the ground there in the Ukraine, and then he was just over in Venezuela. And you were there for the earthquake, weren't you? There, freaking Captain. Literally. No, I know what's very well, right? Now I feel a way about Iran. Yeah, it all starts in the education system. It all starts in the education system. Kids will tell their parents what to do. Absolutely, they're doing it now with the gender stuff. Why can't we add this? Why can't we say, Mom, I haven't gotten any food this week that gives me this vitamin. I think I might be low. I haven't gotten any. And I suppose, like this, if we have these conversations, we can force. Look at this real quick. Vitamin B12 and ADHD symptoms. Vitamin B12 deficiency shares several hallmark characteristics with ADHD, including chronic fatigue, brain fog, poor concentration, memory lapses. So how do you know if you have a B12 deficiency or you have ADHD? How does a doctor know? The only blood test that can tell is a vitamin deficiency blood test, and they do not do them. They don't do them. You're only going to get a B12 deficiency test if you're in the hospital, in the emergency room, and they don't know what's wrong with you. Then they'll be like, well, let's check the vitamin mineral level. All my patients on it. In my opinion, healthcare should be controlled by the government for my personal expense living in Finland. Yeah, I mean, it's a small country. It's a small country over there. But listen, if I would be okay with it if we take the profitability out of it. I honestly believe, dude, look at D3 deficiency. Vitamin D3 deficiency symptoms. Subtle and easily confused with other conditions: fatigue, bone muscle aches, frequent illness, susceptibility to cold, flu, other respiratory infections, mood changes, feelings of sadness, anxiety, symptoms associated with depression and seasonal affective disorder. So all of these antidepressants, all of these kids are getting on, especially our women, our females. Right? How many of them are vitamin D3 deficient? If you put on a face full of makeup before you go outside, you're not getting the UV light. Cholesterol is converted into vitamin D3 in the skin when sunlight hits your skin. So if you're not out in the sun like an hour a day without without sunscreen, you are not getting your daily intake. And the only things that have D3 added to it are like milk and whatnot, and it's nowhere near what we need. Like you need hundreds of times more. So it seems very obvious. And you're in school all day, not under UV light. Even the sunlight that comes through the lights is UV filtered. They put UV filtrant on the glass in our cars and in our homes so the sunlight doesn't bleach our carpets and stuff. So then that's not converting your cholesterol into D3. It's powder. So I think, Adderall will fix it right. And Adderall is expensive, and D3 isn't. B12 isn't. Money and power are hand in hand, which is why lobbyists buy companies. Right, they know this. I know this, so they know this. Absolutely. Using history, I don't trust my country to handle anything. Example, MK Ultra. Right. Yeah, no sunglasses, right? Like you should you should take your actual glasses off when you're in the sun for at least a couple of minutes a day. Let it outside, having the sun hit your face and eyes. But a country should be able to control healthcare. Right. I think it would be easier to control if there was less healthcare that was needed to be doled out. If we can take care of this big hunk of issues, and think about the dental. Do you know your teeth can remineralize? Do you know why you get cavities in lots of cases? It's a vitamin K2 deficiency. And who eats freaking fermented natto? Kids aren't, so their teeth aren't. And then the plaque that builds up. Your gums are trying to remineralize your teeth with calcium. And when you don't have enough vitamin K2, the calcium cannot absorb into the bone. Vitamin K2 deficiency and tooth plaque. K2 affects dental health by disrupting calcium regulation. Instead of calcium being bound to teeth and bones via the protein osteocalcin, a K2 deficiency causes calcium to be misplaced. It's not you didn't brush your teeth. It's you don't have this proper chemical in your body to move the calcium around properly. So how many kids are getting drilled on? Do you know the gateway drugs are not marijuana? The gateway drugs, the first mind-altering substance most children use is a dental painkiller. Future show idea. You take us on a journey exploring the greatest treasures ever displayed by... All right. Let's do it. Freaking bunch of wackadoos. Yeah, I'm all about that.
To test sonar equipment and submarine acoustic profiles in a controlled freshwater environment. Tahoe, with its extreme depth, its exceptional clarity, and its consistent temperature, mimicked deep ocean conditions almost perfectly. It was, in the Navy's own internal documents, the perfect testing ground. But here's what the public was never told. Navy didn't just test sonar at Tahoe. They tested experimental submersibles. They tested classified communication systems. Have you ever heard of... And according to declassified documents from the 1970s,
Janus von der Plant? No. What have I been missing?
Unmanned underwater vehicles at depths exceeding 2,200 feet. Some of those
you take us on a video clip journey website about the greatest Miss Loch Ness Peak for every one day, but that's all music, great quality, all the great. Let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, if you're on the Discord, I wrote these down, but if anybody's got any ideas or any videos you want me to react to, I've got an area in the Discord for it. American Nutritionist. The Primal Diet. Janus von der Planets. Wow, what a name. Alternative nutritionalist, food rights activist. It was focused on raw food, raw meat, and raw dairy. He was a controversial figure who conducted legal battles. Yeah, of course. Dude, do you know in the 1930s, the pharmaceutical industries moved to say that B12 was D3 was toxic? They said that it was toxic. When they did the study on D3, they gave a bunch of college kids in the study way too much B12 to cause them to overdose and be sick. Then they said, this stuff's toxic. No, don't take it. But so many people, and the reason they did it was because the hospitals cleared out when people started supplementing with high-level D3. And then so they said, oh, the hospitals cleared out. Here, look, let me see if I can find a video for you. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Bam. Vitamin D3 and hospitals clearing out. Let's see if I can find that. Let's see. I can probably find it here. Bam. Bam, bam. I bit my lip. Burp. Oh, geez, I'm way farther. There's a weird thing that happens to the teeth as a result. A single tooth just gets brittle and break. My ex had it happen. Tooth ended up 3 times softer. Right. That's because the calcium, the osteocalcin isn't remineralizing the teeth. The teeth have these things, this stuff called hydroxyapatite that's inside in the inners of it. And your teeth without K2, particularly MK7, your teeth will not remineralize, and they'll get hollow, like not hollow, but like they'll get spongy. They have hydroxyapatite toothpaste that will help do that, but you have to rebuild the matrix. You have osteoblast and osteoclast that are eating bones and pooping out bone, so that your bones are constantly being replaced. But you have to have good amounts of calcium, and you need the vitamin K2 for that reaction to happen. Have you ever seen, yes, I have. Yes, I have. I wonder what happened to Area 51 raid. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. If you can, I would absolutely look into K2. Absolutely. Get started on it as quick as you can. We keep effing around, screwing up with nature and finding out. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we've known this stuff. Oh, let me see if I can find it. We've known this stuff for years. It was a naturalist who was assassinated. It didn't mention that. Sugar is a gateway drug. High sugar deletes B12. Yeah, a lot of things deplete B12. And B12 is what helps your body make neurotransmitters. It helps your body replace the lining, the insulation on your nerves. So a lot of nervous issues and pain can be stemmed from a B12 deficiency. But they treat it with nerve blockers and stuff rather than rebuilding the nerves. And so you need high cholesterol or a decent amount of cholesterol in your body for these reactions to happen, and you need the vitamins, especially B12 and methylfolate, for these reactions to happen, for the myelin sheaths to be replaced and repaired. Did you read about the Texas bill? No. What Texas bill? Dr. Sebi, yeah, he was a good guy to listen to too. Anything too much? Yeah. Oh yeah, speaking of which. Dang it. Oh, that's probably what I should have done. Oh, it's not it. Dang it. I should have saved it. Dang it. Yeah, I gotta start doing that. I always forget to freaking save the videos when I find them. Then they get mixed down. Let me see if I can find this. Oh, that's it. Sorry. I think I found it. Okay, never mind. All right, anybody can make you sick with everybody can make you sick with vitamin A. Yeah, you can get sick with vitamin A, but B12 is and methylfolate are water soluble. ADHD is bullshit. I was 90. So was I. Absolutely. He's just assassinated. Turning orange by eating too many carrots is always fun. Yep. High beta carotene. There was a man. Goodness. Jesus Christ. There's first man to get caught for pot after becoming legal. He got 2 years in prison for a joint. Jeez. I have not seen the new F-47. Let's take a look. He was killed by the KGB. I can't. Vitamin D studies done on college students. What's that? No, it's not it. Damn. All right, never mind. Okay, I can't believe it's still eHarmony is all around. Made people healthy for the Soviets to control. Area 51 has been distraction since the early 80s. No way after the age of our satellites, governments would take all that Cheyenne mountain salt mines too. Yeah, salt mine stuff's really interesting. I thought it was a dating website. I was told to search and rescue to drink cold water slowly because too much could shock the kidneys and shut them down. That must be really cold water. Going good. Did you read the text? Oh, no, sorry, I didn't yet. Hold on. I haven't done that yet. Hold on a second. This directly impacts my family. All right. Okay, did you mention what it was? Let me see. Is it current? Like, what's going on right now? ADHD. Did you read the Texas bill? What's the top? What was the topic of it? Just the current bill in Texas? Current bill in Texas. Let's see. Let me see. Let's see. Filed bills. I'm guessing you mean the House. Youth camp emergency plans, disaster preparedness, interoperability for emergency communication and infrastructure, composition of districts for the election of members. I don't know. What are they doing in the background? The Texas government wants to force kids to read the Bible. Oh, yeah. I heard about that. Let's see if it's in here. Hemp-derived products. Abortion drugs. Yeah, I mean, brother, I think the reason they're doing that is to separate America. I think like now the men in women's sports thing in schools, now that's been put back to the states to say yes, they can actually do bans. I think you're gonna have people leaving those states with their children to states and Texas is basically saying, look, we're gonna have people read the Bible in school here, so if you're biblically minded, bring your families here. And then the states are like, we're not going to ban men and women's sports, come over to here. That's what I think's going on. I think you're gonna have a mass migration. They need to find a way to bring taxpayers back to those states, but I have no issue saying the Pledge of Allegiance. That's a micro issue, right? I mean, and what like, is it the Lord's Prayer like that used to be like until the 1980s, like the late 80s, probably 88, something like that. We used to say the Lord's Prayer, and you know, we pledge allegiance to the Lord's Prayer. If it's something like that, I mean, I guess I have to look into the bill. Let me see. Control F Bible. But that's what I think's going on. Oh, well, there's nothing in here under Bible. All the Texans are coming to Arkansas. They're so dumb. Texas Bible bill. Texas Board of Education approved a sweeping statewide curriculum for the first time, mandates Bible stories as required reading for millions of public schools. Additionally, Texas passed SB 11, allowing schools to provide a dedicated daily period to provide one. So that's probably just evening up with the Muslim allow for prayer and a prayer room. That's probably what's happening, but I'd have to look into it. Is it just allowing? Because I remember that it was like Bible, like kids that wanted to pray in school when I was in high school had to get out of the school, and they would surround the area that they were allowed to pray in was around the flag outside. So I would have to look into it. If it's required or not. Okay, state mandated Bible instruction blurs the constitutional search of state. Infringes upon religious freedoms. Yeah, well, I mean, listen, it's going two ways. I'll look into it, but it's going two ways, right? You can't do it for the Muslims and not do it for the Christians. Supreme Court got shot down, Trump's up. But yeah, I saw that. But I can't imagine, with knowing what's going on with OnlyFans and the Chinese, I cannot see how this is going to stand. Now, I didn't read the whole briefing, but what it looks like is it's basically telling Congress they have to decide who is available, like what Congress will allow in that. They have to define their term. They have to define who they mean, who can get permanent in that. So it can be, they can set whatever they want. Right now, it's not defined. So right now, it's defined as people that are here having babies. And it can be defined, they can change that definition. Congress can. And so I think they actually already put another bill in to do that. The states are declaring themselves essentially. What side are you on? Yeah. That's absolutely going on. I think there's more of Islamic influence going on in Texas right now. Yeah. They're setting up a whole town. Sorry, you're new. I'm new here. Are you a doctor? I'm not a doctor. I'm self-taught. High school dropout, college dropout. I'm 100% autodidactic. Look, here's the deal. I'm a tornado wrangler, the legendary space cowboy. I agree under Trump that states are starting to align more with their beliefs. Liberals are moving to California, conservatives move to Texas. One of the few things I benefit under Trump. Yeah. Trust me, if you think if your ground beef is spoiled, it's spoiled. Don't think, it might be good. No, don't do that shit. That's like, that's green. Like green eggs and beef. What's up, Gavin? What up, Sumnon? I have no problem with prayer in school, even around others. I don't care. Liberty and justice for all should be debatable. Should be undebatable. I agree. And listen. I don't know anybody that could be hurt by Bible stories. Now, like if they're forcing prayer, that's crazy. But if they're having, and is it for all the classes? I would have to look into what they're talking about. This probably just allows them to do it, and then you're going to have schools that it's mandated. So I got to read into it. Will be allowed to pray in school. We were allowed to pray in school, but we had to be completely out of the earshot of any students involved. Right. Oh, so you had a so the kids in my high school, I was an atheist at this point, but the kids in my high school had to go out to there was a big concrete area where the flag was, and they had to go. That was their area. The Muslims have indoctrination camps for their children in Texas. Yeah, there seems like there's a lot of big issues going on there now, and I think that's probably what brought this up. Greg Abbott said he wanted to bring another extra 2 million Hindus from Texas to India. from India. Some people call me the space cowboy. Yeah. Some call me the gangster of love. Some people call me Maurice. Woo, woo. 'Cause I speak of the pompatus of love. A doctor would be so afraid to share anything that might be sued, but yeah. Yeah, that's right. We have free religion in America. It's okay to be Muslim here as long as you're not Sharia law. Well, right. Well, that's what. But here's the problem, right? The problem is that's the way it started, and then once the population size got big enough, they're saying, look, but Denmark is now deporting Muslims that had permanent residency. Denmark is now deporting you cannot pray in Arabic. You cannot pray in front of other people. You cannot wear the hijab face covering. You can cover your hair, but you can't cover your face. This was the left wing, center left government that made all of these rules. And now the right wing government just won because they said that they weren't right wing enough. There's a huge shift going on in the world. And that was just a few months ago. That was in November. Flat out, come on, man. If the Bible stories are okay, Quran stories. Well, that's what I'm saying. They are. They are okay. That's what I'm saying. They are okay. They have been being done. That's why I think this happened. Because they were being called when they were trying to do their 5 daily prayers. They were doing Quran readings, and that required cut out time for students where the other students didn't have that time. So I think this is a strong arm back to you should have just been cool about it. I mean, I got to read it, but I don't know. I'm just saying it's not porn. It's not freaking, it's not drag queen story hour, it's the Bible, you know what I mean? But I understand. But this is where we should have never gotten to. We should have never gotten to this point as a country. We should have never gotten to this point. What's about all the context? What's the quick context? Texas is it says now state mandated Bible instruction. Indians are so disgusting. Jeez, I see some B12 supplement from natural sources like spirulina. Are they helpful? So you can't get proper B12 from non-meat sources. If you're in America, go to my website 110thgrade.com and check this out here. This is on it'll just take you to Amazon. I'll get like 25 cents from you. This is what I take. Where's my freaking... Oh, it's gotta be right here. Nope. I don't know where it went. Oh, it's probably in the kitchen. But yeah, and this is under the tongue, sublingual, under tongue. And it doesn't need, and the type it is methylcobalamin. Your liver, if you take any other kind, and the type you get from spirulina and other vegetable sources is called pseudocobalamin, which means if you get a blood test, it'll say you've got plenty of B12, but it doesn't work in your body. So you'll have it in your blood, and it'll measure as cobalamin in your blood, but your liver cannot convert it to, it can't methylate it. So this is a big problem with a lot of vegans that try to find vegan versions of B12 because you can't get it. It doesn't work. It's from meat, from animal products. So the pseudocobalamin stuff, the stuff that looks like it in the body but doesn't activate it doesn't do the chemistry it needs to do. So you want to get something methylated, not cyanated. Not cyanocobalamin. Meat only stores under 2 specific conditions. It's been deprived of oxygen to seal the container, and it's been 2. And you got that. Okay. Oh, you're talking about getting sick, right? Otherwise, you can get a club of ground beef and pop it at your counter and let it sit there for weeks and eat it whenever you want. Steve Miller, good man. Remember how bizarre? How bizarre. The Constitution was written for moral and religious people. John Adams. Were you ever a space cowboy? Me? Oh, and Viber Pro. Due process in America is a critical principle. Yeah, no, I agree. But, there's a huge issue with where we let everything go. And then the results of that. The result is there is more attacks against Christians now. And that has been let go because you didn't want to be called Islamophobic or whatever. And the teachers in the schools in Texas, they didn't want to be called Islamophobic for saying, no, you can't read the Quran, you can't pray right there in the middle, and that went too far. So that's my impression of what happened. And, whether or not it's a battle for the souls. The problem is they're all liars. That's the problem. I think the world's healing. They still allow Muslim prayer El Indoor. But they have the mosques. If you're talking about Denmark, the mosques have to be the imams must speak Dutch. They cannot do the prayers in Arabic. Greece just closed 60 mosques. People are finally waking up, broski. The problem that happened wasn't with the kick-ass Muslims. The problem was the people that used the Muslim faith to benefit off of welfare. This is the way it was told to me. And look it up if you've got time. Because you can have 4 wives. This is what was told to me, okay? So you would have a guy or a girl come into America. The guy could go back after he got settled, got his legality. He could go back to his home country and bring in 4 wives. You could have 1 child with each wife or just have 1 child. But because the way our system is set up, which is one name, husband and wife on the paperwork, each one of those women could sign that child up because it is their son. All 4 of those women with that one guy, that one kid's one son, they would sign all 4 kids up as having autism, or if they could have autism, and for food stamps and cash assistance, and they would get 4 payouts per child. Then they could, if they got divorced, then you had 4 women that could go and bring 4 men back, and then them 4 men could go and bring 16 women back. That's what I was told was happening. That's what I was told why the fraud was so high, because they were, for every child that was on the feeding program or the autism program, I was told that the reason the autism numbers are so high in America from fraud was because children were counted 4 times. And a lot of these people aren't even Muslim. They just claim it so that they could do it. The Jews can go this. John, what I've heard, the mosques are being operated without proper building permits, zoning approvals, required operating license from the Greek government. Morals are very important to me, and I'm an atheist. Yes, they gotta be. You've got to have a set of something you believe in, and what I think's happening with our children is they're so lost that they don't know what morals to believe in if they haven't been passed down from their parents. And then the schools and what the teachers tell them and what the activists say is the most important thing, and so they're constantly shifting around wherever things are needed. Additionally, the founding fathers can be religious, express religious beliefs while not believing or endorsing a religion. Well, right, and that the freedom of religion was huge in America for being secular and religious. A closed mosque is a closed mosque is a closed mosque. I'm Islamophobe. What I heard, those laws about Islam are not finalized yet, still in review. It's not right. Right, and I say this: all my best friend's Muslim. Absolutely, it's not the religions. It's good versus evil. It's bad people. There are people that want to build, and there are people that want to destroy. The people that are willing to hurt people to get what they want and hurt systems to get what they want are bad people. It's not, if everybody was kick-ass, there wouldn't be a problem in any religion, and there wasn't for years. People found a religious loophole and politicized the ability to be a Muslim, to be labeled as Muslim, documented as Muslim, to get the benefits, to be able to multiply the benefits using the 4-wife tactic. In India, there's those that say Islamophobe. It's a made up word. They don't call Chinese or Russians, North Koreans Islamophobes. Because Muslim immigrants also get tax breaks 4 to 5 years. They keep changing ownership 4 to 5 years, and that's a thing too, because you can't in America, you cannot declare 4 wives with one guy. It doesn't work. You have husband, wife. So for the wife, when the wife has a child, one of the wives has a child with a man. If there's 3 other wives, each wife can claim that child for what they need from social services. Yeah. What's with all the soft-handed sissy bitches? No, I'm not a Zionist, dude. What about the peaceful majority Muslims repeated standby loud? Well, this is what I said. This is what I've said a lot. The problem is the good Muslim community did not denounce this when the rumors and stuff started going around online and people started getting arrested and claiming Islam. It did not get shot down. It did not get shouted down. You did not get imams and scholars getting on the news and saying this is not us. And it got way too far. And when people would question it, you got the return answer was you're Islamophobic. So you weren't allowed to call out bad behavior with people claiming to be Muslims. You weren't allowed to. You just got called Islamophobic. Like, look, it's just their culture. Look the other way. And then it built up, and then it broke. I said it's a PR problem. Soft-handed sissy bitches. No, he's just joking. That's Space Cowboy. I think they're all brainwashed and can't be trusted. It's true, but I've seen many Muslims condemn it. Right. I mean, publicly. I've seen many Muslim channel, like Muslim Lantern, condemn it. Right. But who's watching Muslim Lantern? I don't even know who the guy is. Right. So it's like, but the people on the news, the old people, the boomers and stuff that vote and have children and grandchildren, those are the ones that needed to hear it. The good Muslims also want Sharia law, per some surveys. Yeah. I mean, that's I understand that too. Shia Muslims, hyper chill, but they're extreme minority. There's never been a Shia Muslim terrorist. Same with racist, misogynist. Right. Yeah. All of them, all the phobes, homophobic, transphobic, all of that was, I mean, no one said, hey, you're dumb because you're trans. You're stupid because you're trans. Like, no, you're acting like a freaking ass. And they're like, I'm transphobic. No, you got to be able to call out bad behavior. And the trans community did not police their horrible acting trans counterparts or the people that were representing the trans community. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. I'm a Thobert. Reform Boomer Fox News. Islam is the sword the left is using to slit the throat of America. Their beliefs mean fuck all. What I want relatively, what is relevant is their productivity outside society. Outside, it's private, no one's business. Right. Why did what Denmark said, and we can actually watch it if you guys want to. What Denmark said is they tried to build a parallel society. They tried to come in slowly and reproduce and build up and bring in more people and did not even want. They wanted to buy their own sections of land and start their own country inside of Denmark. They did not want to be Danish. They wanted to be whatever their whatever they would name that country if they named that. So that's what the thing is. It's called parallel societies. When they build their own society, and it's not just Muslims, it's people, it's all kinds of people. They don't assimilate and they build their separate societies. And we have laws against segregation. When they're segregating themselves because they do not want to integrate, then obviously things start to happen. Bad things start to happen. What's up, Thadiel? Trust me, there's extremists in Shia too. Yeah, I'm sure you can find them. Zillennial? I'm 1977. Their books call us infidels and say you can rob, rape, and slave. Yeah, and there's problems with that. Yeah, there's problems with that. It's ma'am. Prophet Muhammad married. Yeah, all right. Let's not get into it. We're just going to start fighting. Everybody understands. Failure to assimilate is a problem. Right. Don't come to a country if you don't want to be part of that country. it makes sense. But the way it was sold to us is that they're surrounded by Islamophobes and they need to be around each other to feel comfortable. That's what a country is. It's a place of people with your same culture that you can be around. It's not segregation. They're capitalists. They simply stay in their own culture. Right. But then they want their own banking systems. They want their own education systems, their legal system. When you see this, Muslim community patrol vehicles. When you see this, when you see these driving around your neighborhood, these pseudo cop cars in New York and Texas that are like telling people, pushing people away, like this guy in the middle of the streets trying to pray here, or if you walk past one of their mosques during a particular time, you're forced to go on the other side of the road. That's a separate society. You are no longer welcome in your own town. Yeah, and that should have been called off. But when it feels like you're gaining power, now that you've got political power, you're like, screw you guys, you're Islamophobic, and it's gotten to this point. How come the Chimkins were staying cool? Yeah, they're staying cool. They dust bath. Oddly enough, they don't like getting wet. They actually use dust between their skin, and then those chickens don't sweat, but they got a lot of water. What gets me is all in my, right. Like the people that are super freaking pro extreme and like, you ain't got nothing you can do. We're taking over. You're going to be our slaves. It's like that freaking stuff, dude. And it's not called out by the leaders. Like this shit goes viral and people don't do it. Arlington, Texas has enormous Vietnamese population. They stick to themselves to contribute so much to the economy. I also shop there. Yeah, that's good. That's good, right. And it's not a problem. It's not a problem. The problem is the Vietnamese aren't trying to get political power and change the laws of the society. I'm relearning math right now. It comes quickly. I always say if you took a group 30 million and were granted amnesty instantly, they would assimilate the language, culture, flow. We know the answer. What up, Jake? But they still want your taxes to pay for it, right? Why do people think Muhammad was a pedophile? Didn't the Church of England allow child marriage? Marriage at different times always... Brother, because Muhammad is supposed to be the person everyone looks up to, not the Church of England. It wasn't Jesus that did this. It's Muhammad, the guy that everyone is supposed to look up to and take after and follow, the leader of the entire community. It doesn't matter if England allowed it. England's not Muhammad. Muhammad is what every Muslim is supposed to be, the greatest character, the greatest guy, like that. That's why it's different. That's why it's different. If the Church of England wanted to do that, that's the Church of England. That's not like Jesus doing it, and that's what the representation or how it feels like. Like Jesus never married anybody, but Muhammad said you could have 4 wives, that he had 9. I'm just saying, I'm not going to get into it, but that's the difference. The guy that everyone's supposed to say, this is what you should aspire to. I seen a young white woman shivering cold at the subway. A young immigrant mid-cetera fired to warm her up. Jeez. Soft-handed. He married late with a 6-year-old. Yeah, we all know. Without Muslims, who would step? Well, jeez, dude. Don't worry, dude. Your daughter's going to be treated nice. Jeez. What about the Jewish police? They probably got them too. Let's see. Jewish police. Not who is police. Jewish police force. Shorim. Extra Jewish patrols in London. They got them in New York. They got them in New York. New York City. Service, integrity, and dedication, Jimra. Yeah, no, I'm not Jewish. Adam, the problem is, see, they're a prophet, a perfect example to be followed of all time. Right. Muhammad's a prophet. The Church of England is a friggin' bunch of guys. Yeah, that's the difference. The Jews don't annihilate women. Right. China have their own police in America. The church never allowed arranged marriages. John, it's a bit of a misnomer. Child-adult marriage is pre-Islamic ethnic practice. Age 19 or 21, depending on which source you look at. This takes the Shia. It's called the Persians. Sunnis, it's called the Mariams. Pre-Islamic. All right, we're not going to get into the whole wackadoodle. The stick size of the thumb can be used. We can say Islam is 20% quality and Christianity is 40%. I think their overall both still have some really bad shit. Yeah, absolutely. Right, absolutely. Race wars or religious war first in America? No, it definitely won't be a race war. Who here would believe in Christ without any promise of salvation, about being saved, not pure love? That's an issue for me. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what brought me to it. What brought me to it was me trying to prove it wrong. That's what brought me to it. Me being the smartest person I know and smarter than everybody else, and I said, I'm going to freaking prove these Bible-thumping morons wrong, and I couldn't do it. There's too much extra biblical data. There's too much. Listen, Jesus is more. There's more written about Jesus at the time when Jesus lived than the leaders of the countries. It was written about the leaders of Rome. There's less written about the leaders of Rome at the time of their time, during the time of Jesus. The crucifixion absolutely happened. The other non-scientific, but this is what it comes down to for me. I'm not going to follow someone that can like a political party that's going to tell me what's moral today and then change it throughout the years. Having a framework of a way to live, like a lot of people want to be Harry Potter and they read those books and there's some good stories in there and they'll dress up. But going through something like the Bible will teach you about history, poverty, government, evil, and how political influence tries to dig into social areas and then does things for themselves and burns them down. And it keeps people from lying to you, and I'll tell you how. If people say they're following the book and then they do something that's antithetical to what's in the book, I know they're a liar. The problem with atheists is they can always change what they believe, and you never know if they're swaying or not. A book that's 2,000 years old that will not be changed, the stories will not be changed, you could at least hold somebody to account. I found when I changed my way of doing things, I became much more productive. I got much less mad at people. I understand people are broken. I understand forgiveness. I understand grace. Much better. So I'm much happier in the way I'm at now. Those Muslims didn't look up the prophets, bless their marriages. Their actions were obedience to God. Flavor Flav. What up, Jamie? Yeah, he was a popular guy. I think the crucifixion probably happened. I don't think Jesus was a god, though. Right? You don't have to. And I didn't get to that point until I started trying to prove it wrong. It's very, very, very interesting. And if you started now, you'd probably get there in about 3 years. There's a reason Islam uses Jesus's story to try to gain credibility for modern Islam. There's a reason that the Hindus do the same. There's a reason, because there's a starting point. All the other main religions say Jesus is one of the ways, but Jesus is the only one that says that he's the only way. So, got that cleared up. Now let's move on with life. That's what I told myself. I'm just trying to be as efficient as possible. What about boys are fun for women jeez, dude. Yeah, Jesus was described as having light brown hair, long locks, green eyes. Now they try to make him Arab. Jesus is gay like me. Yeah, that's 12 dudes. I only have 2. Jesus didn't have a say with European Jesusism. Sure. Every story ever told is in the Bible. Right, it's great. And I tell you what, it'll make you much better at songwriting, movie writing, story writing, how they put it together, how 60 authors around 4 continents or 4 put together this, and it's like the most linked book through and through. And then after you read the New Testament and then go back through the Old Testament, you see how it links through back into the New Testament. And you're like, wait, these were written thousands of years apart from each other. How does this happen? So then you're like, okay, this is all bullshit. This was written recently. So then you start going to the source documents. And then you're like, wow, this is pretty interesting. And then you start looking into it a little more and you spend a little more time in it. Then COVID hits and you're like, okay, now I got a whole lot of time to do this. So let's check it out so we can... the government is absolutely corrupt. Agreed. Designed to cater to the least common denominator. Agreed. What up, Scott, brother? Thank you, my friend. Translations are always wrong. Always in some form or other. Yeah. Right. Yeah. If you really want to get into it, you really got to get into it. You really got to grab multiple translations and as much of the source materials you can get. And we got the internet now, so you can get a lot of that. The IRGC outsiders still have underage marriage, so quit already. Adam, doesn't matter. These are only one way to switch the exam. For example, marriage is a God-given, holy institution. They're not being entrenched in others. Uh-oh, Scott. Wrong prophet. Islam affirms Jesus as a prophet. Listen, and this is another thing. Why isn't there a chapter in the Quran? Why isn't there a book in the Quran about Muhammad's mother? The only woman named in the Quran is Jesus' mom. There's a whole chapter in the Quran about Jesus' mom. So it just studying the Quran leads you back to the Bible, leads you back to Jesus. The earth is flat. It's up follows 158 Saturn versus dangerous. Oh, jeez. 185. There you go. Honda is the only car mentioned in the Bible. The apostles were on one accord. The world is on fire. World is fire. Sells amazing Bibles. How you doing, brother? 4:41 a.m. Bam. All right, let's see where we're at. We didn't even finish this yet. Jeez, my bad.
That at least 6 separate pieces of classified equipment were lost in Lake Tahoe between 1965 and 1988. The nature of that equipment has never been disclosed. The Navy has refused to detail what kind of vehicles they were, what they were carrying, or whether they contained nuclear or radiological material. They have simply
sounds like nothing but wackadoos over there.
The bottom of the lake.
Bunch of wackadoos.
It has not been recovered.
Get you a shirt. 110thgrade.com. 110thgrade.com. Get you a shirt. Or a hat. Wackadoo hat. $18. One wackadoo.
That the recovery zones are classified. In 1996, the facility was officially closed. The buildings were repurposed, the signage was removed, and the Navy's involvement in Lake Tahoe was, for the most part, scrubbed from the public record. The equipment, whatever it is still down there. There is one more detail from the Cold War era that researchers continue to debate. In the 1970s and 1980s, several civilian divers reported strange encounters at depth, powerful underwater lights that switched on and off in sequence, mechanical sounds that didn't match any known marine equipment. And in one case, in 1983, a recreational diver named Walt Robinson reported being followed at 280 feet by what he described as a metallic object moving on its own power, approximately the size of a small car. Robinson surfaced immediately. His dive computer logged the encounter. The object was never identified. The official explanation was that he had encountered a Navy test vehicle. The Navy, when asked, declined to confirm or deny.
Sleep. You visited me. Thank you, brother.
The depths of Lake Tahoe were used for classified research.
Oh, you know what? I can make special emojis. I even asked someone like 6 months ago to help me out with that. Bury it in the water. I need to work on that. I need to work on that this weekend. Yeah, brother. Thank you, my friend. I think it looks really good. And the hat's embroidered. True. Usually more an issue of the nation itself. Islam has a lot of extremists. Yeah. Then they definitely got to pick up on their PR. We talked about that though.
Aliens who dove there did so at their own risk. What makes the situation more disturbing is what happened after the facility officially closed. In 2003, fishermen on the lake's western shore reported pulling up segments of heavy gauge cable from depths of around 200 feet. Cable wasn't as consistent with anything the local utility companies had installed.
Interesting.
It was military grade, sheathed in materials,
Yeah,
designed to withstand
yeah.
extreme pressure and temperature.
Yeah.
When the segments were turned over
the Buddhists
to
do
authorities,
great,
they were
right?
collected within
And the interest, like, so we had in my neighborhood, right here. Let me see if I can find this real quick. I was actually live streaming it, and I hear something. I go outside. I'm taking the stream with me on my phone, and there's these Buddhist leaders having in the whole front yard. They don't go into houses, so they were given like tents and whatnot. And there was thousands of cars all throughout my neighborhood. Let me see if I can find this. Walk for Peace movement. Walk for Peace. They were walking like across the country. Oops. They were walking across the country and they stopped in my freaking neighborhood. Oh, I can't see it. There you go. In late December 2025, 19 Buddhist monks from the Hongdo Vipassana Bhavrana Center traveled on foot through Sharpsburg. That's my area. As part of a 2,300 mile, 120-day national pilgrimage from Texas to Washington, D.C. Yeah, and they were like 9 houses down. Yeah. Right here. Anyway. I met an artist girl a few days ago, also from Georgia. I'll link you later. She's amazing. Paintress. Thank you, Scott. Night live. Iran used to be the major Christian, then Khomeini tricked Iranian libs to use useful idiots as soon as the outsiders call it. Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. It did happen, though. Dennis Prager made 2 amazing videos called The Consequences of Secularism on YouTube, The Death of Art, Architecture. Yeah, look what's happened. Do you know, like, it's absolutely odd to see what's happened to art. It's absolutely been destroyed, and then now it seems to be making a resurgence. And I think the bleakness of art and so many people thinking, oh, AI is going to take over art, led more people to like do the man against the machine fight and be like, well, I'm going to start learning how to draw. Never was a majority Christian before. There were Zoroastrians. Freaking nice. Before 1979, Islam was a secular state under the Shah, but was remained overwhelmingly Muslim. It's a good question to look into.
In 48 hours, by personnel.
There's still Zoroastrians there.
Fishermen were
I don't know if you were here, Adam, the other day when we looked it up. When the IRGC goes door to door and asks what everybody's religion is, 99.9% say Islam, Muslim. But when they do it digitally online, only 40% are. So when everybody answers as truthfully as they can, only 40% of respondents. I also walk far from my bed to my fridge. Iran used to look like the West now, yeah. Yeah, I still have some Zoroastrians.
Not to discuss the recovery. No further explanation was provided. Whatever the cable had been connected to remains, presumably, still anchored somewhere on the lake floor, leading to something the public has never been allowed to see.
I bet you they had a bunch of bodies connected to it. You know what they probably did? They probably tied a bunch of people down to that cable underground and then flooded that area and filled it up slowly. They had a third thing called Piss Christ, where liberals laughed at the cross jar, crossing the jar and pissed in the showcase museums. Imagine you try that with the Quran. Consequences of secularism. Right. And there's the consequences of not standing up for your faith has turned into this. Everybody being a bunch of pushovers. But I mean, if America wasn't a Christian country, it would never have turned into this because we were too accepting to everybody. Europe and other countries are completely sick of Islam. It got too easy for people to claim Islam and rape the bank, the welfare state. Bro, church wants me. My church wants me as a teacher for Vacation Bible School. I try to do that. I don't know what to tell them. Pastor Dottie, I ain't trying to do that. You want me to talk to him for you, B2B? I've been to Zoroastrian Fire Temple. It's the oldest continuously burning fire in the world, and they had the flame went out twice when Jesus died and when JFK was assassinated. Atheism has risen the most of this. Yeah, and they're very adamant. They're very adamant. They're more protective of atheism than Christians are of Christianity.
Running experimental
Like,
vehicles
people will get
in Lake Tahoe
mad.
in the 1980s. What were they testing them on? And what else, anything, did they find down there? That question became significantly more pressing in 2011. That year, a team of scientists from the University of California, Davis, conducted the most comprehensive sonar mapping of Lake Tahoe's floor ever attempted. Using multi-beam sonar at a resolution never previously achieved in a freshwater environment, they imaged every square meter of the lake bottom. Data set was massive.
Like,
the interpretation
point at the
was supposed
map
to be
so we can get a picture.
straightforward. Catalog the topography, identify geological features, publish the maps. When the imagery was processed, the team found something they couldn't easily classify. In the deepest part of the lake, near the geographic center, the sonar revealed a series of geometric formations on the lake floor. Formations were arranged in patterns, straight lines, right angles,
There was a city they flooded.
I
don't know how they think it's a good idea of an
They
idiot.
covered an area of approximately several hundred
Maybe
square
they're
meters.
hoping that you'll change your ways once you get some people to lead. I got to teach those kids about the weed of Christ. That'd be great. I'll tell you, like my mom told me, yes, man, especially with something good. When it's something good, you don't have the time for something, just be honest, yeah. The Western Loch Ness. The irony of liberals supporting Palestine and the Islamic minority boggles the mind. They don't know what they're talking about. And this is what I was talking about. It's good to have a framework for your life that's been written thousands of years ago. Because people can't say, oh, this is acceptable now or this isn't acceptable now. No, this is the book we all agreed that we're going to follow for a framework. And so they don't know. They don't know. A bunch of people that obviously aren't Muslims told them that Muslims love gay people and don't throw them off of bridges and buildings and whatnot. So they were like, yay, we've got allies. And then, then they're whatever bull crap they're told by the people that are helping get the funding for the, it's all crap. It's all crap. Man, hell no, bro. I'll be there like an adult that watches over youngins, but I have no right to try to teach myself a bunch of teenagers. All right, man. Might be something to think about, though.
At a depth exceeding 1,500 feet.
Yeah, and that's how you know it's obvious, when those kind of obvious lies come out. When people are obviously lying against the religion that they claim. And then, it's like, so these people are just lying and then using the liberals to try to get the vote, to try to slowly work into, it's like, yeah, it only works for about 20 years, and then everybody figures it out. How much would a small submarine cost to go to the bottom of the lake? It's not even that deep. I thought they said most of this stuff is like 200 feet. George Washington, we still want you as president. Yeah. We said Gate. Yeah. Pop. Neo-libs think it's a game about throwing things out because they don't know. They don't know what they're talking about. They're so undereducated, but they've been pushed through and passed through school, and so they think I've got the knowledge, and then they don't. They just act like they know it because somebody told them something. Culture Critic does a great job of showing the depth of architecture and art. Culture Critic. Lake Tahoe. Yeah, everything's a cover-up. Free Palestine. How much was it before?
Paper was that the formations represented debris from an ancient underwater landslide.
Yeah.
The angular shapes, according to the geologists, were the broken edges of a large rock slab that had collapsed off the lake's flank, possibly during the same event that submerged the underwater forest 6,000 years earlier. The interpretation was reasonable. It fit the existing geological framework, and it ended the official discussion. Imagery told a different story. To anyone outside the geological establishment, the shapes look structural. They look engineered. The lines are too straight, the angles are too consistent. and the location in the deepest, most inaccessible part of the lake
That
is
looks
exactly
shallow.
where you would expect to find evidence of
Ain't
something
happening.
that
Zion is
whoever
quite
built
stealing
it
good
didn't
land.
want found.
Quite
The
good
UC
at
Davis
stealing
team
land.
has never returned to the site for follow-up investigation.
Cool. Youth
The Navy facility is
counselor,
closed,
Methodist
and the
church,
geometric
kids,
formations
all good
remain on the
kids to get a
official
leg up.
maps,
Oh, my
classified
10-year-old
as
daughter's doing it in a
landslide
few
debris.
years.
Even though no
Yep,
follow-up
that's
core
good.
sampling has ever been done
Dun,
to
dun, dun.
confirm that interpretation. Whatever they are, they're still down there. And here's the part that makes the
Yeah, I
geological
can't.
story
That's not
impossible
that
to
deep.
ignore.
I mean, it's kind of
Lake
difficult to
Tahoe
go
is
below
not
130
quiet.
feet
It sits
without a
along the
bunch of
West Tahoe
stuff,
Fault,
bunch of
an
equipment.
active geological boundary
that
that
all right,
runs
brother?
the length of the basin. The
That
fault
sounds
has
good,
produced
Scott.
significant earthquakes in the recent geological past, including at least 2 events estimated to have exceeded
That's where the
magnitude 7
earthquake
within the
machine
last
is.
15,000 years. And according to studies published by the United States Geological Survey,
Right, culture
in
critics showed
2018,
buildings different
the
countries
fault is
compared to the
overdue
modern
for
buildings,
another
all
major
brutalist and
rupture.
execution.
The
There's a thing
earthquake
called
risk
brutalist. Yeah, I'm
isn't the
familiar
most
with brutalist
alarming
architecture
thing
stuff.
about
Yeah.
the lake's geology. The most alarming thing is what was found at the bottom
That's a
of the
little
basin.
deeper than I thought.
In
But they were saying a lot of this
2014,
cables
a team
and
of
stuff they
researchers
found was
from
at
the
about
University of
200
Nevada,
feet.
Reno deployed deep water temperature
Well,
sensors across
maybe
the
they're
lake
talking
floor
about something
as
deeper
part of a
now.
hydrothermal
You give me
survey.
any
They
word,
expected to
you
find
give me
that the
any
bottom
word,
temperature was
and I shall show you the
constant.
root
It
of that
wasn't.
word.
In several
Greek,
specific
my big fat
locations
Greek
near the
wedding.
deepest point of the lake, they detected localized heat anomalies.
Localized heat anomalies here too. Yellowstone eruption. Let's see what AI has to say. It's not going to answer us. Still years away. It's still thinking. It's thinking a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer. Oh, won't you stay? Just a little bit longer. Still thinking. Wow. It's got to be a freaking conspiracy. Although another catastrophic eruption in Yellowstone is possible, scientists are not convinced that one will ever happen. The Rhyolite magnet chamber is only 5 to 15% molten. What about Lake Baikal? That's a crazy place, too. We work for the government. My Big Fat Greek Wedding was the highest grossing independent film made of all time. It's probably about to get passed with Citizen freaking, what's it called? Art today has turned into banana tape to a wall, invisible art. Right. So they've been using art to transfer, Hunter Biden made some like basic art and then sold it for a whole lot of money so they could say, no, I actually transferred something of value for this cash. They're doing stuff like that with it. Crater Lake, yeah. AI pings Yellowstone and it's checking. I sold my drug as a gift for $20,000. Damn. I need to start drawing some more.
Plumes of warm water rising from the lake floor at temperatures significantly higher than the surrounding 39 degrees Fahrenheit. What they had found was active hydrothermal venting, underwater hot springs connected to a magma chamber beneath the Tahoe Basin. Subsequent investigation in 2019 identified a previously unmapped volcanic structure on the southern edge of the lake. It is not currently erupting, but it is not dormant either.
And bringing back the
in the
ideas of the
geological
Renaissance.
terminology persistently active.
It's about time. It's about time. It's about time we get back to talent and craftsmanship and style. Everything's gone so freaking wackadoo. Everything's gone box. Everything, like even like the beautiful stuff that was built in America in supposedly the late 1800s. That was nice and sculptural. Let me see if I can find this here. 1880s. Oh, damn it. What are they called? I guess I gotta look up cathedrals. 1880s cathedrals in America. Like, look at this stuff. Look at this. We don't have stuff like they've ripped down a lot of this stuff. I'm going to make my kids watch the movie 2012 and tell them I survived that. Damn. Bring back the guillotine. I think it's on its way back. My dad taught art history for 40 years. Marilyn Stoltz dad is a good writer. Now I got to learn how to read. Let's make our own movie. I made a few of my friends in high school.
Earthquake on the West
I'm all about it, brother. Absolutely. I've actually got a little bit of skill in that.
landslide, the result would be a phenomenon called a say, a standing wave
I'm all about it. You
generated
want
by
to
the
do it? Come up with
displacement
the
of lake
idea.
water.
I'll help.
Computer models
They
suggest
shouldn't.
that a
They should
major
ban
sea
anyone
change
weighing
on
over
Lake
200 pounds from
Tahoe
going
could
to
send waves up to
Yellowstone.
30 feet
It's too
high,
dangerous,
crashing
man.
into the shoreline
Look up
communities
Tehran's
within minutes. Tens of
brouhaha.
thousands of people live in those communities. Most of them have never heard the word "siege." None of them are prepared
I've been
for what
called
could happen
diabolical
if
on
the
a few
lake
occasions.
decides to move.
Oh, won't you stay? Yes, the cheese. The absurdity. Could have been such a great country. Look at this stuff. New wave architecture. All right.
Cold, the dark, the lack of decomposition that has preserved every body, every ship, every artifact at the bottom of Tahoe for the last several thousand years would receive a fresh deposit. Everything currently on the shoreline, everyone currently in those waters, pulled down, preserved, added to the collection. But before we close this story, we have to talk about the fish.
Okay.
Lake
Could
Tahoe
Salt Lake
contains a
City be
population
wiped
of
out
lake
by
trout,
tidal
also
wave?
called
Frog in
mackinaw,
a
that
bottom
grow to
lake?
sizes that biologists struggle to fully explain.
I
Species was
wonder.
introduced
Probably,
to the lake in
probably,
the late 19th century.
probably would be enough water to. You know what? There's not enough mass behind the water probably to push it very far with much energy. Let's see. Let's see if anybody's thought of that. Could Salt Lake City be hit by a tidal wave from the lake? While an ocean-style tidal wave is impossible, Salt Lake City can be hit by a large lake wave known as a seeks from lake tsunamis. They're generated by severe windstorms and tectonic fault ruptures. Utah's big one. Hey, July 30th, they said something about it last year. We'll have to look into that.
In most environments,
Ain't already
lake
past your
trout reach
bedtime, young
maximum
man? Me?
size
No, it's
of
11
around
o'clock. I'll
30
go to
to
bed in like an
40
hour.
pounds.
Why don't
In
we build the
Tahoe,
beautiful
however,
buildings
specimens
anyway?
exceeding 6 feet
Right. And I think people have gotten so into corporate work and just that's all we are is a cog in a machine. We don't inspire people for greatness anymore. You have girls that want to be boss bitches instead of moms. You got guys that want to be freaking bankers rather than designers and builders of things that'll be around for hundreds of years. Like that. We don't inspire people for actual greatness. You know, they think if I make $100,000 a year and I get a mid chick, then that's. But modern buildings represent modern culture in general, no character or soul. I agree. Quantity over quality. Agreed. I agree. I think this is one reason why people are so pissed about the ballroom that's being built in Washington D.C. and at the White House, because that's supposed to have some style to it, and everything else everybody's built look how horrible Obama's freaking trash can building looks like, his presidential library. I live in Skinwalker area. Sleep depraved. That's all right, brother. That's tsunami on lake. Memory serves me correct. Largest tsunami on record was the lake. The largest lake tsunami. Let's see. Largest recorded lake or freshwater tsunami, Spring Lake, Washington, 1980, at the eruption of Mount St. Helens. That makes sense. The lateral blast. 850 feet. Holy crikey. I know that's AI, but that's freaking crikey. I'll grow up to be an internet prostitute and make $18,000 to $45,000 a year. Maybe because it's not prostitution, it's only fans of mine. Right, I'm the best. Right, so what up, Bella Bookity? Okay, we'll talk about this later though. But there's a bunch of very rich Chinese businessmen that are flying OnlyFans girls out, and there's Dubai princes flying OnlyFans girls out to get them pregnant so that they'll have anchor babies back in America. Then when the babies are born, bring them back to China and Dubai and then raise the kids there, and the kids will still get a vote, and the kids will still, because of what just happened. And I didn't even find out about all the prostitution that's been going on. They said over 1 million Chinese millionaires and billionaires, or babies from those millionaires and billionaires from women, have been made that will now have a vote, a mail-in ballot in 18 years. That's crazy. That's crazy. Good night, good day. God bless you, brother. Imagine catching a crappie or something like that. Shoreline at 8 foot 50. Yeah. That's nightmare fuel. All right, Scott, brother. You see the project where they fly drones into tornadoes? Yes. I did. We watched that on stream a couple of weeks ago.
Length have been documented. The official record stands at just over 37
There's a lot of
pounds,
OnlyFans
but
in
local
Bali,
fishermen
despite
and dive
prawn being
operators
banned in East.
have
Right?
reported sightings of
Yeah. It's
significantly
haram.
larger individuals in depth. Phenomenon is called
Oh, in
aquatic
Bali, right?
gigantism.
Yeah. Well, in all those places, isn't it? Isn't it in like all the Middle Eastern countries? Isn't it? Yeah, that's what they said. A million children. So they're just flying out these girls. And apparently they've been doing this for a long time, knocking them up and sending them back home, giving them tens of thousands of dollars to prepare for the pregnancy. I mean, just money. And they're talking about Chinese billionaires. So they've got the people's money. He definitely sits when he pees. Old man who died in Mount St. Helens eruption was once sunk by a U-boat, smuggled booze to his ex-wife into a lake during an argument, got park rangers drunk and impersonated wild game wardens, assaulted taxmen, hated hippies, chased off a Supreme Court justice, and died with his cats on a volcano. Going to Bali. Germans make great cars and ovens. I'm not Jewish, dude. I haven't had an appetite in days. Just been into fast. Haven't eaten much. I don't know, brother. You've been trying to flush yourself out, drink a bunch of water. You drinking water? I hope so. Wait, children, never mind. That's nasty. The U.S. Army's got to be stopped. By who? Yeah, and from what? On who? That 15 pilot that was shot down in Iran involved both shot downs. Dude got shot down twice. Jeez.
Environments where prey is abundant, predators are absent, and conditions are stable, fish can continue growing for decades beyond their normal lifespan. Tahoe provides exactly those conditions. The deep water is cold and stable. There are no natural predators for adult lake trout, and the lake's introduced kokanee salmon population provides a virtually unlimited food source. Here's what's strange.
Water.
The largest specimens,
Yeah,
the ones
that's what I was about to
reportedly
say.
exceeding 6 feet, have
Right,
only
but
been
it's not.
observed
It's
at
not terrorism if it's the army. That's not terrorism if it's the army. Yeah, it's cap. You profiling me, Christopher Lee, actor. Red Lips video. Can we get a chance? Christopher Lee.
extreme depths, below 600 feet. They are rarely caught. They are almost never photographed. And there is a persistent local legend, dismissed by most biologists.
That's a
that
big
something
old fish.
significantly larger
We need
than
to send
Mackinac
fat
lives
chicks to
in the
Iran
deepest
after we
part of the lake.
starve them.
The legend has a name, Tahoe Tesla.
Wait a second.
Most akin
Fat
to-
chicks to Iran after we starve Iran, or fat chicks to Iran after we starve the fat chicks? Destroyed Afghanistan in the name of weapons of mass destruction and found non-wipeout pillage and season. That was like freaking 30 years ago. And you want to stop them from attacking Afghanistan now? You know, that was a completely different government, right? Like there's only like a handful of people still even in government at all was part of that government. You know that's completely different government, right? War would be over in 2 days. Welcome to the New World Order. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Eat Iranians. Does the Japanese president get a lifetime supply of chicken fried rice? I love that shit. Guaranteed.
describe a long-bodied serpentine
I'll let you know.
creature, dark
Nothing
in
about
color,
no.
capable of moving.
No,
at high speed
I'm guessing.
underwater.
I'm guessing
Stories are-
13 years old. I'm guessing 13 years old. It's a long time I got spoken to. Anyway, Grease, if you remember. All right, brother. You were right about America lying about what? Yeah, that was correct. Yeah, definitely. Could you do a show on vitamins? What you recommend? Educate about which projects go? I used to do that regularly. That's why I built the website. But yeah, absolutely. And now Trump fiddling with his hands. Iran, they have the right. They absolutely have a right. And the thing is, you're not in the government, and you don't know what was happening. You only know what your news station tells you, and that's going to be different from another news station. You can't trust the news, so why would you think that you have any idea what's going on? Right. Great for the economy. Sending back them fat chicks is a war crime. It's a freaking wackadoodle. The brown rice is better. It throws 3 or 4 packs of soy sauce in that mug because Iran had weapons of mass destruction. Dun, 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 dun. There you go. Iran equals Vietnam plus Iraq. War stimulates the economy that we neutralized. They told us that they were cartoons. Not yet confirmed as have what Iraq. Is U.S. allowed to only have nuke only? Is U.S. allowed to have a nuke only? Yeah, you can't trust the news. Absolutely not. What do you think they'd find if they drain the lake? I hopefully he's got a good video or something of this.
Contact. In 2004, a charter
I'm
boat
hoping we see
captain
some
operating out of
actual
Tahoe
data at
Keys
the bottom of the
reported
lake.
pulling up a fish so large that his commercial-grade
fished
equipment
so
failed to
hard.
hold it. Cable snapped. Whatever was on the other end of it descended back into the dark and was never recovered. Captain estimated the weight at over 200 pounds.
200
Lake trout
pounds.
are not supposed to reach
Adam,
that
plutonium
size.
enrichment was
Nothing in
confirmed,
Lake
and we
Tahoe,
stopped them
according to
before.
official
Yeah,
biology,
yeah.
is
I think he's.
supposed to
Did he
reach
say
that size.
Iran or
But
Iraq?
something did.
I think he was talking about Iraq. Did he say Iraq or Iran? Yeah, Iraq. Yeah, Iran. They had that. Yeah. Iran. F politics. So we talk about shit like duck stock, General Tso's chicken. They need to let the people vote on everything pertaining to the people. Then we wouldn't need representatives. That's the thing. We wouldn't need representatives. Anytime the economy's about to crash, we find a new country to invade. Yeah, that seems about right. Here in the Netherlands. If only Kirk was still here alive to oppose the war, he would sway the very same voter base that supports Trump. But globalists, sorry, further, had an agenda. Yep. Iran, Iraq, vase, tomato. It's all the same.
Something that was strong enough.
Yeah, no,
to break
listen.
Rated-
Iran is running out of water. They were going to start being pirates. Then they started being pirates. They were about to attack somebody. That's the reason all of their main leaders were all in the same building in the same bunker at the same time. And they wanted a nuclear weapon. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, especially they killed 45,000 of their own people in January, February, and March. 45,000 of people that said, we're out of water. We don't have electricity. We don't have internet. And then they just blasted AK-47s indiscriminately. And they weren't good people. And good for the economy. Can we talk about these chicks getting based? Barbie asks, you talk about BBLs, brother? That's so crazy stuff, dude. They stink. We don't need them. Committing the oldest sins in the newest was committing the oldest sins in the newest. Not in the plastic. Yeah, they were on their way out, and we had weapons we needed to test. Yeah, huge, unbelievably huge. Like we had a guy in here yesterday from Iran, and the day before we had a guy in here from Iran. I can't remember if it was the same guy or not. I'm guessing it might be. But yeah, they're freaking asking for help to live streamers on the internet. Not enriched, but processed from spent nuclear reactor fuel. What Iraq actually focused on the vast majority of clandestine was uranium enrichment. Right. But the uranium enrichment that we found was at 40%. They needed to get higher than that for bombs, apparently. But for nuclear power, the lie that they said that they've been enriching for only needs to get to like 2 to 4%. So they obviously went up way past that. So pirates on flying carpets could be some of a bitch to combat with. Tuesday in Iran. Which produce highly enriched uranium, yeah. Iranians have a bad economy. They flew a few hundred a month to pay a few hundred to get through the month. Trump is the man who beats Trump is a man who beats for female Clinton and Harris, not Biden. Yeah, he beat Clinton and Harris, not Biden. Can you do a 12-hour show on why crayons give you the restaurant are terrible? I could do that. It'd only be a couple of minutes, but I could try to do a 12-hour stream on it. I think the average, the equivalent around is 400, 500 a month. 400, 500 million? Yeah, 400 to 500 million a month in oil. I think that's what they said. No, I disagree with the killing of 40,000 people. I still talk to the people there every day. The U.S. and Israel gave a bunch of their rebels their guns, and they started to reveal, unfortunately, citizens were caught. The economy was already in the shitter. Agreed. Because they were using citizen protesters as human shields. Jesus. 45,000 of them? Wrong one. Thought you meant Iraq. Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. That's what I thought you guys got confused. The problem with our country is we don't fix the damage we caused in the war. Right. I agree with that, too. On the news channel, we are demonizing how we say there aren't people, patriot, fascists, they sort of more housewives, of course, are threatened. Right? Right. That's a big freaking problem, right? Yeah, and our politics is great. Autocorrect. They spent all the money on nuclear program and not desalination plants. Right. Right. They needed way more desalination plants, but the blood, the blood feud that they have, and the urge that they have to want to destroy America and their allies, yes, they could not have a nuclear weapon. When I'm president, I'll make sure of it. I've seen some use a red carpet, use a carpet as a replacement wingsuit. Hey, what up, Abdul, brother? Ain't seen you in a while. How you been, man? They really messed up. Yeah, they sure did. The crayons they gave you at the restaurant. Give me the Hershey squirts. Marine. I looked it up. The crayons are made in Iran. Sorry. not are they? Babies make better shields. They aren't heavy. Who are the best leader in U.S. history? Best leader in U.S. history? So really, there's a lot of very good leaders. Washington obviously was the most kick-ass and did the most cool stuff. But then, yeah, he's a pretty freaking good leader. He set all this up, but he let people bleed him to death. $400 a month for... I thought you meant for oil. Right, that's how bad the economy is. People are scraping by with a few thousand a month. Jeez. I hope there's a new government in Iran as a result of this. Brother, listen, I hope there is too. I bet you... I can't bet you because we can't know. But the 45,000 people that were protesting and died, had we taken out their leaders before that, had we known that was going to happen, which, I don't know if we did or not. We had spies there, and I know Israel had spies there too, apparently. Had we known that was going to happen, if we could have taken the head off the snake, then possibly that could have overrun. But you can't, you have a... I think it's going to happen too, Scott. A lot like North Korea. The Civil War has already begun. They have a lot. They still have a lot of more. Yeah. Well, if they can't, but they're burning their money faster than they can make it with the strait being closed. I don't know if it's ever not. Professor Cameron, position equality. Everything is insane. Thank you, my brother Abdul. We suck at the nation. We suck at nation building. We need to go and leave black baby dead. What? Iran is a very wealthy nation. Yeah. Kennedy was pretty good. Yeah, Kennedy was pretty good. Can you Google who the Ergen was? You can do that. I have the technology. I have the means. Andrew Jackson. Iran is one of the largest reserves in the world. Not really, but they have a lot of money from oil. So yeah, Venezuela absolutely does too. Yeah, probably more than we know. Shane Gillis does a good skit on Washington. Yeah, he's freaking great with the history stuff. Jew spies gave themselves away with the nose. It's George. Hey, they say I got a Jew nose because I was a skateboarder as a kid. Well, I was a young kid. Broke my nose freaking skateboarding 12 times. Bam. Take it. Take another little piece of my nose now, baby. You know you got it. Okay, what are we looking at? Sorry. Ergan Etzel was a right-wing militant Zionist group underground operated in Mandatory Palestine between 1931 and 1948. Revisionist Zionism group utilized political power and violence and terrorism against Arab populations and British authorities to establish a Jewish state. Following the creation of Israel in 48, the forces were integrated into the Israel Defense Forces. The Irgun was widely classified as a terrorist organization by the British, U.S., and United States governments. You know what else is hilarious? Getting Freddie Mercury keys. If silent country makes nuclear weapons, what will happen if not Iran doing it? We don't know. But we do know, most likely, we've got very, very good orbital sensors that know that can detect very small amounts of radiation around the world. Now they can. That's what Iran tried to bury it. They tried to put their stuff in under a mountain to try to keep it away from, I'm guessing, sky or space-based sensors. That George Washington joke about it with the woods is hilarious. The one Washington comes out with the weak theaters should be good. Bam. What kind of work? Me? Who? Which one are we talking about? Freddie Action. I'm not a secret Jew. I'm not a secret Jew. Work for GRS Global. Him. Yeah. Staff response, private military contractor analyst. Work for the DOD, the boom house. Already a silent place, smash escalation policies and houses, burn the Dutch people are fed up. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Skateboard and half pipes. Yep, I skated some half pipes. Broke my nose on freaking coping. Nice dude. I figured private contractors be in Venezuela. He was there too. Yeah, I'm sure he'll bring that up in a second. He was there also. I understand it's under 10th grade, but I must ask the third grade question. Who started it? Who started the terrorism? Was a right-wing militant group. I would have to look into it, like to find out why this happened and what happened before it. I mean, I got no idea. So these guys were the terrorists at that time. But who were they attacking? And was that because of it was just everything was cool and they just walked in and started killing babies? Like I got no idea, and I don't know the answer. Thanks, Uncle Sam sends me. I was in Ukraine early in the year, and this wouldn't be like internet, buddy. He does have a laid back life. Privates, there you go. If Trump got radiation treatment, could detector blow his cover? Probably. He's got that. Can't even ollie anymore because of my British cigarette. Did you play the video game Skate or Die as a kid? Yeah, N720 in the arcade for 50 cents. Brother, we've got no idea what is going on in space, but there's a lot more. Do you know, I heard from a very good source that our repair missions for the Hubble Space Telescope was to put up more space telescopes for the CIA. And let me see if this data is online. Yeah, the chat goes a little crazy there, brother. It's a dirty history. The IDF for terrorists. When the right wing can see that, why does that mean for Israel? Right. Well, I say this a lot. Everything changes. It depends how far back in history you want to talk. Like in America, we only teach people about slavery going back to the American, the North Atlantic slave trade. Like they don't go back another 100 years and talk about when white people were slaves, or 200 years when everybody was slaves. So they only go back far enough with the history to that's good for their narrative. Trump saw a mirror and finally said, "A news network I can trust." All right, let's see. You can do it, brother. All right, let me see this one.
Good for ocean fishing, something that returned to the depths and was never seen again. There are dozens of similar stories. Captains who don't speak on the record. Tour operators who tell their families to stay out of the water past sundown. Local guides who refuse to take clients into certain coves with no explanation given. And that brings us to the final piece of this story. The one that makes everything else fall into place. Washoe people have lived in the Lake Tahoe Basin for at least 6,000 years. Their oral traditions, passed down across hundreds of generations,
that's exactly the opposite what I would have expected.
That modern science has only recently begun to confirm.
Check out the floating platform on Venus.
meaning simply the lake.
Be
To
insanely
them, it
cheap.
was the
There's a
center
place.
of the
Check
world,
out the floating
most sacred
platforms
place
on
in their
Venus. It'd be
territory,
insanely cheap.
and
And there's a
most
place in the
dangerous.
atmosphere. Temperature's
According
nice. You
to
can actually
Washoe
walk outside
tradition,
for a
the
bit with
lake
your
was
eyes might
inhabited by
sting.
beings they called the
Are you
water
asking me to
babies.
do it?
The water babies were not children.
Never
They
seen
were
it.
powerful
Trump
ancient
looking at a weather
entities
forecast
that
and
lived
partly
in the
cloudy said
deepest
wrong.
parts of the
Tremendously,
lake. They
son. The
could
sun
pull
loves me.
swimmers and boaters
It's
down
so
to the
difficult to know
bottom.
the truth
They were
about what's happening in our
responsible
own
for
town, let alone in the Middle
unexplained
East.
drownings, for the disappearance of
Right.
humans.
This is why I always say, do not break up personal relationships over politics. You got no idea what's true. You got no idea what's true. And we elect people that are going to know more than we know. We don't have top secret clearances and whatnot. So what they're telling us and what the truth is are two different things. Aliens are real. Damn it, dude. You're going to ruin my day. All right, what was I looking up? Look up floating platforms on Venus. Are they currently a thing? No. Like, hold on. What's going on here? Floating platforms on Venus, often conceptualized as cloud cities, theoretical outposts designed to hover 50 to 60 kilometers above the planet's surface. This sweet spot, atmospheric pressure and temperatures mirror Earth's radiation shielding is optimal, and breathable air acts as a lifting gas. Wow. We should do that. But, if that summit pops, you're done. An altitude above 50 kilometers, when I transfer scorching high pressure furnace was surprisingly temperate environment. There you go. Gotta be in the CIA if you want to know the truth. I'm sure you did, brother. I'm sure you did. Anything you can talk about. We are the government. Yep. Venus colonies be easier. Bodies 0.9 of Earth's gravity or something. Venus easier for humans. Mars easier on logistics. Strange question, but what do you think? World Economic Forum 2030, is it real? Stars look like. Yeah, I think it's real, dude. I think it's real. They're lying to us about Santa. I got my gifts. A few missions ago, we had some shit go down that neither us, U.S. military analysts, Ukrainian defense, nor Russian defense analysts could explain or actively investigating. Jeez. Yeah, it is scary, Scott, brother. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Bob, brother.
For the sudden storms that turned calm water deadly within minutes. The Washoe knew which parts of the lake to avoid. They knew which beaches were safe and which were not. They knew that certain areas of the shoreline should never be approached after dark, and that certain depths should never be entered at all. For over a century, anthropologists dismissed the water babies as folklore.
I bit my lip
Drownings in
so
Lake
hard
Tahoe,
like
they
3 days
argued,
ago.
were just the normal accidents of a large alpine lake. The storms were weather. The disappearing boats were navigation errors. There was no scientific basis for treating the Washoe warnings
You won't
as
be getting this
anything
year
more than
UBI this
mythology.
month. You've exceeded your
Someone
carbon
actually
allowance.
checked the
And I
data.
keep talking with
In
science.
2019, a research project
Internet's
at the
a
University
liar.
of Nevada
Another gator
compiled
attack
drowning
in
statistics.
Florida. Gator attack in Florida. The gators and the sharks are particularly pissed this year. Well, yeah, that's good. May. Bear attack. May 2025. The bears, too, brother. A bear in May 2025 killed an 89-year-old and his dog. Jeez. Jeez. June 28th, 2 days ago, by a large alligator while swimming in the Econlockachee River in the Little Big Econ State Forest, Seminole, Florida. Wildlife for his trip up two elevators measuring 12 and 13 feet. Government breaks down the government, which is controlled, which means mind in like 3 different languages. Mente. Satan. Saint Nicholas. I almost went to Ukraine. I told the army 5 years ago. Oh, to aid the army 5 years ago. Don't do it, Richard. Holy crikey. I guess that's that blur. Thoughts on the teen jumping off Disneyland Live last week. I didn't even know about it. Let's look it up. UAPs made all our defense systems go dark. Both the Ukrainian Patriot air defense systems, Russian 300 air systems, all well shut down while my drone and all in the area. Nice. Somebody's got some power. The fish you lost is a record breaker, of course. Freaking hate alligators. I don't care how cute they are. Cute? What do you mean? They aren't worse than a cockroach. Teens jumping off Disney ride. Teens jumping off Disneyland ride. A 13-year-old boy plummeted 50 feet down the 21st June 2026 after exiting his moving log vehicle before the final drop. Cast members immediately stopped the ride. He was taken to hospital and subsequently... Oh, I thought he died. He just fell down the waterfall. He's just having a good time. They're honoring because they got them teeth and no teeth brush. Oh, we got the water boy. We got gators here. They have crossing by their dollars. I've got gators living right across the street from my house. This property developer guy, he's got this huge, probably freaking 100 acres of land. And then on the other side of the street, he's got a couple acres, probably like 3 or 4 acres. And it's got a swamp in it and everything. And it's actually got a gated entrance that says nature conservatory or nature... not conservatory. But yeah, there's gators in there, and there's emus or some shit that they got next door, and apparently that's what they feed that thing like once a month, or them things. Kid was fine, had a few scratches. It's not true. It's not true. Drones are not taken down. I know where you come from. I don't believe you. I said the word. Gators are very nice. Natural reserve.
For Lake Tahoe across the last 150 years and mapped them against the locations the Washoe traditionally identified as dangerous. Correlation was almost perfect.
For real, mate, so many
The
people
areas the
complain about
Washoe had
alligator
warned
meat.
about,
Yeah, a
the
lot of people
specific
eat it.
beaches, the specific depths, the specific zones, accounted for over 70% of all unexplained drownings in the lake's recorded history. Modern victims with no knowledge of Washoe oral tradition were dying.
So they were. I'm guessing what you meant, Captain, or what you were saying is they jammed everything. Is what I'm guessing. And they ate gator meat. You had gator meat in China. Some type of black cube associated with Saturn. Gator tail is amazing. I don't think I've ever had gator. I had camel.
In exactly the locations that had been identified as dangerous thousands of years before. Researchers couldn't explain the correlation. They suggested possibilities. Underwater currents, perhaps. Localized temperature shifts.
How long?
Submerged
I guess you
debris
can't.
that creates suction effects near the surface.
They've got to use something that's on a predetermined route to do like in-air jamming. I mean, unless it's something from freaking Space Force. Some of the gators down here are real dark, almost black, and look evil. Yeah, Chinese and everything. Did you hear GTA 6 made $3 billion pre-sales? It's set in Florida. Gators will be in the game. I did hear that. That's absolutely nuts. I bet you there's going to be a lot of refunds. Watch. Mark my words. There's going to be a lot of refunds. I hope I'm wrong. I noticed the gators around Orlando are more green, like their mascot. Saturn is on the frequency is 185 is what they worship, like the black square. Jim Bob, what's the dark star or the day of the sun? When is the day of the sun? What's the opposite? What shape are the North Pole of Saturn? What shape is the North Pole of Saturn?
None of the proposed mechanisms fully account for the pattern. Whatever the Washoe knew about Lake Tahoe, they knew it with a precision that modern oceanography is only beginning to match. That's the question this entire story leaves you
Modern
with.
oceanography.
Because if the Washoe were right about the dangerous zones, what else were they right about?
Where am I at
The
here?
water
Boom,
babies.
boom.
The legend says they are still down there. The legend says they live in the deepest, coldest, darkest part of the lake. Legend says they are old, older than human memory, older than the trees that stand
There
drowned
was a
at
talk of
300 feet,
UAPs in the
older
area
than
during the
basin itself.
jammings.
Legend
There's
says
footage
they
on
pull
some
people
drone
down.
feeds that have been
The science says
redacted.
the lake preserves everything that
You
touches
haven't
its floor.
seen this
Science
North
says
Pole of
bodies have been
Saturn? It's like
hanging
the
in
star of
waterfall,
Rutman
upright,
on the pole of
undisturbed
Saturn,
for over
supposedly.
100 years.
The North Pole of Saturn. I've seen AI renditions of the planet. Saturn's north pole is for a colossal, persistent hexagonal jet stream that spans 18,000 miles, discovered by Voyager. Jeez, I've been there, dude. Freaking, you brokey. You're broke. You broke. Most of the people think Satan is actually worship Satan, but the people are atheists. Only minority actually worship Satan. Yeah, I think a lot of them. Right, are atheists. They think it's funny to be like anti-religion, so they just say they're Satanists to piss off Christians and Muslims and Hindus and whatnot. They're supposedly this is Saturn right here, supposedly. What were you saying, Scott? What planet? Jupiter? Are you talking about the eye of Jupiter? Jupiter's got a big freaking wackadoo too. Wow, look at that. It's got 9 freaking cyclones at the top. That looks demonic. Look at that. Look at that. None of us have, but they're all doing just. What's up, Colton? Have you got to talk about UAPs? See a lot of them. Very close. Yeah, they popped up in the conversation. Connect the line. Star of David. Wow. Let's talk about Antarctica, our own planet. Yep. Yeah, let's talk about that. Yep. Lucifer, bring a light bringer. Yep. Yes, Lucifer. That's right. That's correct. The king of Babylon. A real man. Yeah, Lucifer's Satan. All of the planets might be hollow, and what you see there is the entrance of hollow Saturn. So one looked like a seed, almost drop shape, a halo around it. The lighthouse now is natural. The UAP. Seems like they stole random king's name and associated with Satan. Jupiter has hexagon pole, and Jupiter freaks me out for some reason because the big storm, the big eye, the freaking can fit 80 Earths. 3 Saturn's north pole features one of the most phenomenal solar. So it's called massive persistent hexagon. If you connect the dots, yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, so let's go back to where we were here. Oops. All right, let's see. All right, where's the eye? I should have just gone here. Yeah, like the Star of David, right? All that frequencies. Okay, so the eye. Where's the eye at? Okay, Jupiter's eye, the great red spot. Oh, okay, I was wrong. My apologies. Colossal centuries-old anticyclonic storm used to be large enough to hold 3 Earths. Now it can only hold 1.3. So maybe it's the entire planet is 80 Earths. Jupiter. Huh? I lost my freaking touch. Jupiter is 11 times wider than Earth. However, a common sense cosmic what if? No. What planet is 80 times the size of Earth? Huh. I don't know where I got that from. Star from Fawn. Oh, damn it. You all should listen to NASA recordings to the Planet Access. Yes. I've listened to that. I've listened to. We can listen to it. Dun, 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 dun. The sound of the sun. The sound of the sun. Listen to this. Isn't that freaking nuts? Nikola Tesla supposedly said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. I'm Governor Torre. What's up, brother? How you been? What happened? You lose your phone? It's like 800,000 and the Earth is like 10. Space is a vacuum and sound can't travel through a vacuum. Right. So you have to use light. You transmit. You use a light dependent LDR, light dependent resistor, and the light from the sun as it fluctuates, you can convert it into sound. Tesla 369, yep, that's a big thing too. The frequency, the math is hard. Let stupidity stand for my chat. You think at one time the Earth has had almost the same climate over before the Ice Age. Man, has looked like one race to the weather diversified. The freaking song. Quantum frequencies, right? Way different. Gigahertz, terahertz ranges. I felt pretty anxious last days. But we got to keep going. Yeah, brother. Keep on, keep it on. I counted. Okay, let's see. Sound of hydrogen. Sound of hydrogen. Check this out. Yeah, dude. Yeah, you're lucky. What up, fat bong, brother? Don't worry, doll up. I failed the same math class 3 years in a row back in high school. Okay, let's see. See if I can find it. Where's it at?
Sounds ethereal, right? This is the sound of hydrogen, the most common element in the universe. It's the simplest atom, the building block of stars, and the stuff that turns unsaturated fat into saturated fat.
Spent a
It
year
also
in
blew
Texas
up the
back in
Hindenburg.
2024.
But how are we listening to
120
hydrogen?
degrees.
It doesn't normally make noise, does it? Well, atomic hydrogen absorbs and emits radiation at certain frequencies, its atomic spectrum. And if hydrogen emitted sound waves instead of light waves, this is what it would sound
Smoking
like.
that reefer.
Though I did pitch shift it down so it would be audible to the human ear. So, just like you might have seen false color pictures of galaxies and planets made by shifting infrared or radio wave images into the visible spectrum,
3 days of
this
darkness.
is a false pitch
What's up,
sound
Robert? What's going
shifted
on?
into the audible spectrum.
Yeah,
And it's
almost.
what our eyes hear when they see
Ironically
this.
enough, trees the most
Enjoy.
rare research in the whole universe. Yep, wood. Yep. Frequency essential to everything from electromagnetic rays and quantum waves. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let me close some of this stuff down. Jeez, I got all these wackadoos open. Get yourself a hat or a shirt. 110thgrade.com. I mean, that's how I was doing landscaping at the time as He's Wave. I posted a video today. Let's see. Check this out. Where is it at?
In the UK, follow.
All right, here we go.
In the UK, follow me. Right here. Air conditioning.
I'm an asshole.
Follow me.
And now I feel the same math class was never to do work nor did it show up to school. Yeah, that'll do it. The sound of Jupiter. I thought we listened to that, didn't we? Sound of Jupiter. We don't stay quiet enough to hear it, I think. Also, I failed. A lot of people failed. A lot of people paid for me to take exams. When you let me laugh, you go, hey, brother, I'm here to help, my friend. Thank you, Scott, brother. This is Jupiter. Your mom calling for dinner. Pulsars, yep. I've heard that also. We'll play that next. Ever heard of the Dark Huntsman theory? No. Brittany in jail for 2 years for running their AC. What? No way. Is that true, Robert? Is someone going to jail for running their air conditioning? That says in the United States. Leave Brittany alone. Also, once I worked it out, I just couldn't apply myself to public school for 12 years. No, UK solely for running air. Idling your car, theft or damage from an AC. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it hasn't gotten to the wackadoo yet. Britney Spears? Britney Spears arrested for using her air conditioning. She was arrested March 27th, driving under the influence of alcohol and prescription drugs. Unless it just happened again. That was last month. European worst nightmare, hot weather. Do you know more people die in Europe from hot weather than Americans from gunfire? I did graduate at least. They let me already have started with that. The Brits. Yeah. You don't like public education. You enjoy reading the books from Ghislaine Maxwell's father. Yep. Sometimes like Dad went to college. Yeah, that shit's so freaking nuts. All right, where are we at? All right, let me grab a glass real quick. All right, what were we listening to next? You said a sound of something else. Pulsar. Sound of a pulsar star. Yep, they're supposed to hold heat, right? It's a scam. I agree. For most kids, absolutely. You'll be arrested and jailed for freedom of speech. Unless you become a doctor or lawyer, I agree. Didn't turn out much different than my cousin's nurse in debt though. Geez. Since the housing for European countries, yeah, and all of this because they were worried about they don't want to use nuclear energy, so they go crazy and say, well, we should use as much least amount of power as possible, so we'll just have a lot of old people die, kill them all off. Only 1 in 5. Jeez, well, not a scam. If I want to get certain evidence, $25K for system. Yeah. Sounds like on a 90s badass track. I don't know if you're out of your car and you see the cadets are meant to run 2,000 RPM. Yep. They try to build houses that can last 500 years. Yep, but because it can be sold. People are being arrested for existing. Agreed. Of a welder for less than $100. That's $1,000. Yep. Right. It's so cheap to get into the trades. And you can make so much money. Full auto. Many assistants generally absolutely not worth it. Associate's degree. If you ever listen to King Diamond. Yeah, I used to listen to King Diamond. Absolutely. Yeah, King Diamond is one of the greats. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's find something to calm this down with. Let's see. Let's watch something chill for a couple minutes here. Okay. Oh, come on. I got my freaking cinnamon graham crackers and my big old glass of cow's milk. If I can just figure out how to open the plastic freaking wrapper. There we go. All right, but some of these jobs require, so even associate's useless, right? Still, the music is meh. Overall, I'm a simple man. Okay, let's see, where are we? Pulsar, the EDM of the universe. Work in access control, definitely worth it. Blue collar trades, corporate jobs are going to disappear. Yeah, access control is I used to do access control also. It's a very good thing to get into. I'm trying to remember the brands we used to use. Started with an A, was one of the most primary brands. Damn it. We did RFID on helmets for people that were going into mines, and so it would know who got in the mine and who got out of the mine to make sure there was nobody empty in there. I did them for the movie industry with Chocolate Rain. I understand modern credentials. Yeah, that's so wagged. Yeah, brother. But so I was making this ass corporate job slavery. Let's see. James O'Keefe. Bankrupt. I visited Obama's library. Oh no, let's look at that.
To diversity, the unity. This is for everybody.
Yeah. Well,
this is a safe space for everybody. So beautiful.
What's up, guys? It's Angela. I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning to fly from Denver to Chicago just to see the opening of Obama's library today on June 19th. People are celebrating Juneteenth.
I love this.
Now, this library cost about $850 million to make. Now, that is still less than the
economics, but disagree on the method of what you achieve the goals. Yeah, right, absolutely. And we should not have allowed so many kids to take out that much money. Absolutely not. Anybody that got a D in high school, it can go freaking take out $80,000 in loans and stuff. We've really let that go the wrong way. And you know, I'm looking forward to the manufacturing that's being built in America now. That's what I'm looking forward to. And I think it's going to do well for our economy. Put together heaters for Tate Tax, the 20th of slavery. Tell me why manufacturing jobs have become slave jobs. Yeah, student loans are definitely evil.
$0.7 billion that Obama gave to Iran in cash on wooden pallets.
Iran provided all of that footage, the tape of taking that money off that airplane.
This, of course, came after the 2015 nuclear deal, the JCPOA, which made it seem like they were going to keep Iran from enriching uranium.
Iran will not get its hands on a nuclear bomb.
But in fact, it did the opposite of that, and it helped them put together these secret facilities and get training from Russia to enrich uranium without restrictions.
Like a nuclear bomb, it must be enriched to at least 90%.
Now, this $1.7 billion just so happened to come after the release of 4 American hostages.
I agree. Nuclear deal done, prisoners released. The time was right to resolve this dispute as well.
They have proved that this money was indeed ransom money to Iran. So what Obama did was almost as irresponsible as Jill Biden leaving Joe Biden on the stage yesterday at their opening ceremony.
I agree. They shouldn't have done that to these kids.
My granddaughter.
Yesterday, they also bragged, I guess, or talked about this library being on stolen land.
We honor the Anishinaabe, the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi nations.
Now, that doesn't sound like a good idea because then the original owner, I guess, could come and demand it, and I guess they would have to give it to them. But also, yesterday, Obama's husband came out and was saying that illegal immigrants are like the backbone of America.
They are America. They are the beating heart of this country. They are us, and we are them.
Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right, America?
people have also been comparing this building that cost $850 million to Trump Tower, which cost a similar amount. Now, you guys can let me know in the comments which building you think was better. I was actually here last year, but it was still under construction.
Not really sure what this is going to be. It looks like a roof.
No, I'm definitely critical.
Area.
No.
So it looks like a...
No, dude. Yeah, I'm not a bend over and take it. No. If I do not watch the news, so the information I get is information I sought out. It's stupid. If he does stuff I absolutely don't agree with, I don't think it's good. Absolutely critical of him. But most stuff that people are critical of him, that are critical of him for, often I've got through it mentally and then did a projection to see what it will look like 3, 4, 5 years down the road and what the way it is. But absolutely, no. I'm not a yes man for Trump. I'm not a yes man for any man. Absolutely not. But a lot of the stuff like that he's doing, I agree with what he's doing and how he's doing it. But that's just because I agree with what he's doing and how he's doing it. I don't agree with him as a man, though. Yeah.
Kamala Harris. So I'm excited to see inside of this building and see if there is any information on how we got into this mess that we are in today with this war and everything. And all that I ask in return is that you please subscribe to the channel or become a member, because we do member-only lives every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So speaking of Trump Tower, it is currently on a street called Wasab, and they are trying to rename that street to Barack Hussein Obama Street. So therefore, Trump would have to put Trump Tower's address with Obama's name on it.
He did that on purpose.
Opinion,
you know he
I don't
did.
think any street in America should have the name Hussein on it, because it sounds like the name of a very popular terrorist. So anyways, yeah, there's music over there. We're gonna see what the side of the building says, and people compare it to a trash can, honestly. People hate this building. They think it was a complete waste of money. They think it looks really horrible, and they're very unhappy with the situation that Obama has led us in today. As we approach this building, they have a concrete wall that says Obama Presidential Center.
I had no idea it was going to be about this. I don't know. I haven't watched her videos before, but it's funnier than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be the thing. Mag all the way. Kamala Harris saved you, critical. Yeah, right. Yeah, I just can't listen. They were so. It was obvious to me that Biden was mentally deficient. And when Harris was interviewed asking what she would do different, she said, not a thing. I'm really happy with these plans. And the plans they had were not good. Dude, she just bought another $8.4 million mansion. Don't you about the plans to stack my money and practice welding shit for an apprentice? Yeah, that's a good plan. That's a good plan. You can make a lot of money welding. Science probably changed your mind from where you got it from. Koala hairless. Fair enough. I think it's a hard time for any independent thinker with social media. It is. It absolutely is. One of the most important things to do is not watch the news. It's because it's absolutely biased. You're not going to be able to, because you can't know. The news, this is what I like to say. The news is a show about sex and violence. That's it. It's a show for you to watch about sex and violence. You do not know it was true. So I'll read through. If I'm going through and something piques my interest and the Supreme Court just did something, I'll go read through that, find out what's going on. If somebody comes into the chat and says, hey, what do you know about this? And I'll be like, if I know something, I'll tell them. If I don't, I'll be like, I'll research that tonight or tomorrow morning. And I do. That's how I get through my politics. Gabriel, the Lord in the days, exhorts beloved children here on earth. Carlo. And when I say here's what I'm worth, prove 3 worlds, big, big, and small, you'll bust that out. Be like, here it is, brother. Who would want to invest in Iran anyway? Listen, and I'm going to tell you something about Iran also. This $300 billion thing that they were talking about giving to Iran, I do not think that money was ever going to go to Iran. I think that's a setup for regime change. So now it's been made public that they would have gotten $300 billion to make their country a superpower, but and help from surrounding countries, and they turned it down. And now the Iranian people know that their government turned it down. The government could have gotten help from these other governments to get the water back online, to make sure the people are fine, and they said, go screw yourself. So the government said that to our government, and so I think it was all a play so that the people of Iran know that their government dropped the ball or missed the pass. Yep, it's a big joke and funny. I assume Internet Watcher is talking. I never saw. No, he's from the UK. He's from well, he's in Holland right now, so I think it's just a. He can't type proper. I love you, Scott. I'm just playing. All right, I got off work, but I was saying, all right, fat bog brother, go to bed. I mean, Iran will get an investment of $300 million, but who will be able to invest if Iran is stable? Right. Well, but the thing is, I think that number, they will get help. They'll absolutely get help. But what I think it's for, I think that's why they choose such a large number like that to shake in front of the world. And why they don't need to tell us what they're offering to Iran. Why are they telling Fox News or CNN? Why are they telling them that? You know, especially like before it's signed. I personally believe so. Okay. Supergirl is dumb. Stop. Women, listen, the movie industry changed when we started putting these crazy women in lead roles like this, where they're making movies for themselves rather than for the audience. You didn't hear her get interviewed saying, I tried my hard to try to make sure everybody likes it and I make as many people happy as possible. She said, Christian Dad's a 4, this wasn't made for you. I'm fluxing the gender binary. Supergirl is a queer superstar. Like, saying stuff like that, you're separating your audience. She did it on purpose. What she did caused that, and she should have been taught better with her PR team to not do that, because it's going to be Christian dads of 4 that take their daughters to go see that, and they didn't. They're losing like $100 and some odd million easy. Yeah, it's Russia. It's some fake stuff. 3 days of darkness. Let's say Iran accept the investment. Who would they want to invest in anyway? So they would do what they do everywhere. They would find ways to make sure that the water could get in and get desalinated. They would find what kind of repairs need to be done, set up companies to do infrastructure, hire locals, and have people from outside come in to run the locals to build up, find out what economy could be used in there, hire a bunch of people to recover and dispose of all of the nuclear dust. And set the community up, build better ports so that you could ship oil to and from more efficiently through Iran, that kind of stuff. Those investments will come from different nations, but why do you think they'd guarantee losing the investment? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying we know Iran enough that they want us dead. They're not going to sign the deal and stick to it. That's what I'm saying. So I think I type how I type. So criticize. I love you, brother. I'm playing with you. Should we arm teachers or hire guards? We should take our retired military. We should take our veterans that don't have jobs or need jobs, and we should put them out front of schools. That's what we should do. We should take our retired military and military guys that can't find jobs, and that's who we should use. We shouldn't hire a private service. We should find them. That way we can help fund our military men and women, retired military men and women. I love you, brother Scott. 602, still can't sleep. Iran. What up, Shiva? Why do Americans have a mass shooting problem? Why don't they have better gun control ownership? It's not legal gun owners that typically do mass shootings. It's not. Now there has been a few, but they're usually like stolen from the parents and whatnot. most gun deaths come from the hand of illegal guns. So that usually happens in towns that have steep gun control. So there's less citizens with guns. So the people that go there with guns, they don't think they're going to get shot at. All they're doing is making remakes, rebranding. Right, yeah, they're just training it. I'll type in caps too. Booga wooga alpha bail. All right, where's my thing at? There we go. Yeah, that's but you have a lot of people suffering in Iran right now, and their government could have with a stroke of a pen ended that. And this was going on before the war. So they would rather try to finagle a way to get a bigger weapon and try to come out on top. CIA using that mind-altering MK Ultra techniques to brainwash scientists, kids in certain on certain psychotropic medications as false flags to take away your guns. Yep, they do that. They do that sometimes too. We have SSRI problem, gun-free zone problem. Half of Texas is gun-free zone. Yeah, yep. We have plenty of control. We have DAs and liberals. Right, yeah. The thing is, laws don't help lawlessness. If somebody wants to shoot somebody and they have an illegal gun, and with the open borders, we had hundreds of millions of people, or tens of millions of people, and hundreds of thousands of guns come across the border with that. I actually read something today that was talking about how a lot of the guns, I want to say from a government, I can't remember what country it was, they ended up being sent to Mexico, where the cartels took them off the shipment and then shipped them across the border. They're using government therapists to implant certain ideas in kids. Listen, the big thing that they're doing is they're using online therapy chat sessions for the kids in schools, and the headquarters for those chat sessions are in states that do not require school certification to be counselors. And then you have ideologues that are guiding these kids. Sweden has a gun shooting problem and guns aren't legal, right? Not real. I mean, they do. They still, people die. I mean, if it's 1 or 100 people, it still shouldn't be. I'm gonna go back up to the European Union, remove the prime minister with their. Go get them, Shiva. FBI usually has a profile on these kids, and they've been reported numerous times. Right? Yeah. We have not been enforcing our laws, and we've overwhelmed our judicial system and our justice system. So, like, you have people waiting to get to these kids down the list, and then when that happens, by the time you get to them, it's too late. They've already done something horrible. All right, we're gonna call it a night here. I'm very far behind. I don't blame the immigrants. I blame the people in control. Yes, me too. 100%. 100%. I do not blame the immigrants. Not at all. Not at all. I blame our government, who paid NGOs $1,500 per day per person that they could sign up to come across the border. $1,500 per day per person. So even people that weren't even thinking about coming across the border could get talked into it and then offered a bunch of things. That shit is crazy. It's definitely those people that need to fall down for it. All right, everybody. I love y'all. I'll see you guys back there tomorrow. Is gun control really an issue in America? I mean, no. We have the cities that have the worst gun violence have the most gun control. Love y'all. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.